Good evening, everyone. I think it's on. There's too many cords. All right. I am calling to order the May 16th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. We acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Chumash, Tongva, Fernandinho, and Tatavaim and First Nations on which we are learning, educating, and living. Mr. Jacob Flores, would you do us the honor of the Pledge of Allegiance? I know you just got here. I'm sorry, that was mean. That was so mean, it was so mean. Please rise if you are able.
All right, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Flores. It's good to see you again. So tonight, our meeting will adjourn in memory of Karen Lombardo. I lied, that's true, but first we're going to do roll call. I'm so sorry. Ms. Kateria, will you please take roll call?
Member Ferguson. Member Ferguson is absent today. Member Tabbitt.
Present.
Clerk Poncher Kamkar.
Present.
Vice President Agakanian.
Present.
President Weisberg.
Present. Now, we'll go back to this important announcement. So our meeting will adjourn in the memory of Karen Lombardo, a beloved and dedicated educator. She passed away, leaving behind a legacy of excellence and compassion in the Burbank community. Karen began her remarkable career with the Burbank Unified School District as a teacher at Joaquin Miller Elementary in 1990. In 1993, she transferred to Bret Harte Elementary, where she dedicated 30 years of her life to nurturing and educating young minds. Throughout her tenure at Bret Harte, Karen excelled in multiple teaching roles, including performing arts, chorus, intervention, and kindergarten. Her versatility and commitment to her students' learning environment made her a well-respected member of the kindergarten instructional team. She ensured her students engaged in a variety of active learning experiences, fostering their growth and development. Karen's profound impact extended beyond the classroom. She touched the lives of numerous students, parents, and colleagues, earning admiration and appreciation from all who had the privilege of knowing her. Her leadership and outstanding contributions were invaluable to the district, and she was truly an asset to the Burbank Unified School District. The Burbank community deeply feels the loss of Karen Lombardo. Her legacy of passion for education, her support for her students, and her unwavering commitment to excellence will continue to inspire and influence future generations. She will be dearly missed by students, parents, staff, and administrators alike. Karen Lombardo's memory will forever remain in the hearts of those she touched with her kindness, dedication, and exceptional teaching. And I know I speak for everyone when I say we extend our deepest condolences to her family and also her Bret Harte family. We know that the last week has been excruciating, and I think we are so moved and inspired by the way the community has rallied together to support one another and also the students at heart. So it is our honor to adjourn in her memory. We'll move on to reporting on closed session. We had one item, 3A. The board voted do I have to read the board voted in favor of the readmittance recommendation for District Transfer Review Committee for student 9600-26319. We will move on to item 6, adjustments to the agenda. Does anybody have any agenda adjustments? Okay. Moving on to item 7, items for future agendas. Ms. Ponser-Kemp? No?
I was just ready with
Honey?
my.
Ms. Tabbitt? You sure? Okay.
Madam Chair?
Dr. Agakanian.
Again, I might sound like a broken record, but again, since we just passed the tax season and a lot of individuals and companies are, starting a new fiscal year. I think I would like us to visit again when we talked about acknowledging some of the supporters
Yeah.
who've been supporting the district.
Absolutely.
Maybe start acknowledging them, certificates and so forth. So if we can bring that back again and make it maybe into a monthly recognition.
So I think it might be helpful if it's at all possible, could you send, or maybe you already have, to Dr. Paramo, sort of if you want to do it monthly, do you want to do certificates? Will there be invitations for people to come? Just like a sketch of what
I
you'd
will.
like so that we can get to work on that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem.
Ms. Tabbitt?
I was going to suggest, when Mr. Ferguson was president, he put some things in place about who can do what and where.
Yes.
And maybe if someone wants to do that, they work with, I can't remember her last name, Arendi, in Dr. Paramo's office, and just make those happen. I think it's important and a good thing. I just don't want to place further work on folks that are already, so as board members, I think we need to, if that's something we want to do, we need to make it happen,
Okay.
in my opinion.
I do agree, and I think our superintendent is very versed in trying to make sure that he connects me with the right person. So I will follow up on that. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Board Member Tabbitt.
Dr. Paramo?
Yes, and 11E, I think we're going to need to pull that one.
Okay. So we will be pulling 11E from the agenda. Thank you very much. Anything else? Okay. We are going to move on to presentations and recognitions. And 8A is recognition of the 2023-2024 student board members. So come on down. We're going to go over there. Sure. Have a little song prepared. Kidding, I don't. No, I'm totally joking. So in a minute, we'll have a chance to say some amazing things about all of you, but we wanted to just thank you for your service. Oh, yes, please, come this way. We wanted to thank you for your amazing service to us. So, Ms. Tesfu, I'm going to give this to you. Mr. Bibulian, give this to you. And Ms. Alvarez, give this to you. The other thing that Dr. Paramo and I talked about is if you would like them, we would love for you to take your placards just because it's a cool memento of your time being a board member here. We just hope this is the beginning of what we know will be many, many years of service and impact in the community. And we're just very lucky that we were able to share in a very small part of that. So thank you to all three of you, and then I'll say a little bit more in a minute, but I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues. But now we can sit down. Oh, we're going to take, is it pictures? Board. Help. How do I turn it off? Looks pretty nice. You can hang them next to your law degrees.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like
Just
school board.
actually right above it.
Awesome.
It's a
Oh,
bigger
yeah,
publisher.
This is like a smaller frame for your law degrees. Let's get in for a picture. Congratulations.
No, that's coming this way.
No, what's happening? You go that way. Okay, good.
There you
I don't
go.
know.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tabbitt, you want to start us off with any comments for our outgoing things?
Thank you, President Dr. Weisberg. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service. It's an honor to be one of the few boards in California that has student board members. And I think that you bring an aspect to our bi-monthly meetings that bring meaning and allow us as adults here to remember the important things happening in your lives that sometimes we play a part in and sometimes we just get to enjoy what you do. So it's a privilege and an honor. Thank you for the time spent here. I hope you leave us and go forward on your journeys, whatever it is. Are you a senior? I'm so sorry. Okay. Your pathways forward, and please let us know where those pathways take you. I always think of board members as very special folks who give of themselves, and I know that great things are going to happen in your future, and it's always fun to know about it. So once again, thank you very much, and it was a pleasure and an honor to work with you.
Friends, it has been just a pleasure to get to know each of you. And thank you so much for representing your various student bodies, I think, really well, right? Coming with really good information for us, advocating on behalf of the other students at your school. That's really important. And as Ms. Tabbitt said, it gives us a really good window into what's happening. And, you know, you guys are old enough that we can, you know, rely on you to be kind of mature adults and tell us what we need to be told. But it's just been a real pleasure to get to know each of you. This school year felt like it just flew by, but it's been really lovely. And best of luck in whatever comes next. My husband was a student board member up in San Francisco 100 billion years ago, and he still talks about it. So know that weirdly, this is an experience that you will carry with you until you are old. So congratulations on a wonderful end of the year and a great career in BUSD.
Dr. Akanian.
Thank you. It's always difficult to say goodbye to a group of leaders who have done such a fantastic job. And I think what's important to me is to see the level of improvement as every meeting I've noticed you're getting better and better in what you're doing. I know some of you want to be attorneys, so once you finish and pass the bar, call me, I'll be your first client. Or maybe the district, I don't know. No. But I also, I do want to also, since we have millions of viewers watching this, all the students out there, this is a call for service, You don't get paid to do this. You have to sit here. Sometimes the exchange, sometimes it's difficult, But you've been we've been putting up with the discussions very professionally. Your reports are immaculate. And, our chair and I were talking about, I think this is the year to do it, Madam Chair. We would like to have an area dedicated at the district on the wall with the plaques with all the names of the, past and presidents, because again, it's a difficult job. It's a lot of commitment. So, Superintendent, if we can look into that, and even if it's going to have a fiscal impact, I would be more than happy to look into private donations to support this wall of acknowledgement if we need to. And I will finish with one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite figures, which is Mahatma Gandhi, which is an ounce of practice is worth more than tons of preaching. This is something I have on my wall at my office. So thank you for practicing and not just preaching. Thank you for representing all the students. It's very difficult, I understand. And I hope that you've inspired the future generations of leaders, and I look forward to meeting the next representatives from our school. So congratulations, and we're here for you. Anytime you need us, I always say it, we're just one phone call away. Thank you.
I said everything in the cards but just again, I think we're so lucky to have had the three of you and learn from all three of you, and to think about our district in a different way, the different issues that you brought up to us. It really does inform the work that we do. So I hope the three of you felt like you made an impact, because I know that you did. And we're just really excited to see what you do next. and where you go next. And we hope you'll, because on any free Thursday evening, you're going to want to hang out at a board meeting. So, if with your downtime, but drop us a text, drop us an email, let us know how you are. But like I said down there, I know this is the beginning of like many wonderful opportunities for all of you to make huge impacts in whatever area you choose. So thank you, all three of you. We'll stop embarrassing you for just a minute. Okay. And now you're on. So we'll have our reports from the board. We'll start with the magnificent Daniela Alvarez representing Monterey High School.
Let me see. So hello. Good evening, Board President Weisberg, distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Paramo, district staff, and our audience. As our last board report of the school year, Monterey has enjoyed sharing all of our accomplishments and celebrations this year. I would like to share with you our end of the year summary. This year has been record-breaking for a number of reasons. We had the privilege to attend 4 local community colleges, which were Los Angeles Trade Tech, Los Angeles Valley College, Glendale Community College, and Pierce College. We had over 75% of our seniors complete FAFSA, and we have 84% of our students enrolled in community college. The seniors at Monterey are passionate and eager to take the next step into their future. We have had a number of students who finished scholarship applications, and so far about 9 students will be winning financial scholarships. Ms. Weaver says the goal of Monterey is not just to focus on earning a diploma. It is to help our students be ready for the next step of their lives and to have hope for the future. The staff at Monterey is making this happen by creating an environment that's safe and welcoming for our students. Students at Monterey enjoy going to class, and we have fun no matter what activity we're doing. The energy at Monterey is phenomenal, and even though I was there for such a short amount of time, the school has shaped me in ways, especially the way I view my education. We would like to invite you to our senior farewell party, May 22nd, at 10:30. The whole school will be celebrating our graduates after graduation practice. We would also like to invite you to our graduation, May 24th at 12:30 at Dolores Huerta. Thank you for allowing me to be Monterey's board representative. This has been a wonderful experience. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I was listening and so excited about the percentages and the numbers that you were saying that I didn't write them down. Would you email them?
Yes,
to me?
of course. It was
'Cause
84%, I believe. Yes. 84% that
in college
enrolled-
classes,
enrolled in college classes.
and there was another percentage.
It was 74% that completed their FAFSA.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And 9.
It was 9 scholarship.
See, I remembered the numbers.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
That's
9
awesome.
scholarship winners.
thank you.
Yes. It's been a phenomenal year. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Ms. Sponsor
Wait
Campcart.
a second. Ms.
Don't
Alvarez.
go anywhere.
So thank you for everything. Where are you? What are you doing when
What's
your
your
time
plan?
at Monterey is over? If you don't mind me asking.
My plans are to go to GCC.
Nice.
I want to do real estate and political science.
Yes.
So after I do GCC, I want to go to UCLA for 2
love
years.
that.
2 years. 2 years. Yeah.
That looked like a fight on to me, though.
I love that.
Yeah.
That seems like it will be a very successful career path for you.
Yes.
So congratulations.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Mr. Ferguson or Dr. Agakanian?
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you. So I recently found my photo of the day I got my plaque for the student board member role, and it is so near and dear to my heart. It is one of my most treasured possessions. I will say this, you have brought really the best flavor of Monterey. You have brought the art, the culture of Monterey, and how it's really reforming in a whole new way. This year, I have so enjoyed your reports. I'm happy to hear you're going into political science, or at least exploring the subject area.
Yes.
It's an area that, frankly, between real estate and political science and housing and all the issues that are surrounding that, it's so appropriate for somebody of your skill set. You are a communicator through and through, and we need more communicators in the world right now because things are just unclear. So really proud to have you as a part of the legacy of this district, and you know, all of you are amazing. But welcome to the retired student board member club. It's a lot of fun. So, anyway.
Yes, thank you so much.
So, and since you're going to GCC, just
Go back.
just look up the longest last name with the instructor and Business 101, which is going to be a requirement. So I hope to see you soon in my class. But I'm also happy with what you're studying. People, real estate, political science, same thing. It's a lot of communications, knowing the legislation. But the fact that you've already kind of have a path, that's very, very important. And I always tell I call them scholars. Within your educational career, you change majors, But I think whatever it is, you're going to be good at because just the way you deliver, how articulate you are. Again, I'm not going to say you should become a counselor and be an attorney, but I've already said the other two, but I'm going to advise you, just my little advice. But I just want to let you know that, when you go also into the community college system, look at opportunities of scholarships. There are a lot of scholarships out there, and there are opportunities for you to transfer to, no offense to UCLA, but you can even look into, but there are a lot of opportunities out there, especially for what you're studying, which is very interesting and unique, but the combination could make you also eligible to go into some of these other schools and not pay because the burden of, college tuition, university, college is free, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, but, again, if you ever are there and again, need help or any assistance, just look up Dr. Agakanian. I'm on the roster and I look forward to having you in my class soon. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I'll see you at graduation.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you on Rate My Professor.
Oh, snap.
Most epic closing.
That was very good.
If you're going to go out with a bang. That was amazing.
That was very good. We should record that. Should record that as an opening for
it is recorded.
It is. No. Play it over and over.
All right. Next, the splendiferous Paris Tesfu from John Burroughs High School.
You should be.
I don't really know how I'm supposed to top that, but I guess I'll just speak. Good evening, President Emily Weisberg, distinguished school board members, Superintendent John Paramo, district staff, members of the community. My name is Paris Tesfu, president of John Burroughs High School, and I'm here to give my report on May 16th, 2024. Beginning with performing arts news, the VMA is holding their last performance of the year at this very moment, spring concert. Don't miss your chance to, their last chance to see the last choir competition sets and some classical music as well. Next, with campus news, our college peer mentors are holding their annual college week. The spirit days included this Monday, Shred Your Stress, where you shred your rejection letters in the quad at lunch. Tuesday, rep your college gear. Wednesday, donuts for decisions. Thursday, leave your mark, and that was chalk art in the quad where students got to write their names near the school where they were attending. And tomorrow is the senior tailgate where seniors can grab a root beer float in front of school. And this is a short report. So ending with ASB, and senior news. Throughout this year, our events committee held their first year-long class colors competition, and to honor the senior class's unmatched school spirit, ASB has been decking out the school in their class color pink today in preparation for the last Spirit Day of the year. Pink out. Make sure to wear pink to commemorate the student class's victory. At the beginning of the week, on Tuesday, May 14th, ASB's senior class held their senior brunch. It was so amazing being with seniors for a couple hours. Seniors first got updates on future senior events. Then we watched an awesome senior slideshow. And we went through department awards, and then a couple hours on Memorial Field, grabbing our cap and gown, yearbook, a little bit of breakfast, and some time to reminisce and relax. Our grad night at California Adventures tomorrow. I know a lot of seniors are excited to experience this once-in-a-lifetime event from 5 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Thank you, chaperones.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, our graduation is on May 23rd, and this bittersweet event cannot come sooner for some, and others wish it could come slower. At large, I believe most of the class of 2024 is excited to have one last memory with their friends, families, and peers for the final time before summer. I'm so honored to have served my school this past year as their ASB president. I've learned so much and grown so much as a person, a leader, and a human being. I've enjoyed serving the community as a student board member. This experience has influenced me and what I want to pursue career-wise and for the rest of my career, so thank you. And that's it. What?
Thank you once again. I'll just say it now. I attended Monday night to the senior awards at Burroughs, which is one of my favorite things to do because I love to see kids get their pat on the back for being amazing human beings. And I saw our friend Paris multiple times up on the stage. So congratulations to you. And since Clerk Ponzer Kamkar asked, would you mind sharing us with your pathway after high school?
Yes, I actually decided last night, the day that it was due, that I will be attending UCLA in the fall, and I will be double majoring in not political science, sorry. In public affairs at the School of Public Affairs and African American Studies in the College of Arts and Science and Letters. I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Thank you. Huh? What?
Just, yeah.
No. I have a vintage. Okay, it was my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I saw this Beat USC shirt, like vintage shirt, and I was like, I was telling my family like I need this shirt, like can we buy it? And then someone bought it because it was on eBay, and I was so sad for 2 weeks, and then my birthday came and it was there. So I was like, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure getting to know you this year. And you bring such a presence, I think. And I got to see you interact with your peers as well. And that, to me, was really a phenomenal experience because, they looked to you, they supported you, and vice versa. I saw that too, but to see that with your fellow student leaders was huge. And so for you to bring, and you've also brought a number of concerns up this year as well. So I really appreciate proactive board members. All of you have been that in bringing issues to us, but you in particular have done it with a particular grace and a particular kind of personal testimony along the way that's been very informative and I think really helped drive some of the policies that are going to make this district continue to evolve in a good place. So come back, help us once you're done there. And UCLA is a phenomenal accomplishment out of high school. Very proud of you and way to represent our district. And you two should sync up, on trying to get this junior
Yes.
year. So, congrats.
Thank you.
And how did you spend your birthday, Miss Tessville?
I went with my childhood best friend. I've known her since second grade. We went to eat and we just spent time together. It was really fun.
You were babysitting my children.
Oh yeah, I forgot. And then I took a nap, and then I went. I forgot about that. Yeah.
No, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and obviously I trust you because I trust you with my kids. But I think you're just what I've actually really loved about this year for both you and Mr. Burbank is you both brought in other folks from ASB to represent, and so we've gotten to know a number of folks from Burbank and from boroughs, and so that's been really lovely. So thank you for making the space for that. And your advocacy for the courses that you're in and for the students at your school has just been really commendable. So congratulations on next year. You're not going to be a stranger to me, so I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad you got into UCLA. And once you graduate and want to go to law school, Pepperdine, you can call me and we can get you a nice letter. No, I'm just kidding. No, I am glad that you're going to UCLA. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my colleague here all worked up. She's a big USC fan.
Oh.
But, all the schools are great, but I think it's also about what you want to do, what you want to study. And I think in today's market, also networking is important. I hope you look at traveling.
Yes, 100%.
100%. So again, congratulations, and hopefully you come back and give us some additional updates about what you're doing next. So again, thank you for your service and good luck. Thank you.
I want to thank you for welcoming me into ASB. They were two really amazing, dynamic conversations, and you made me feel right at home. Thank you for welcoming me into your AP African American Studies class. I know you guys just took the exam, right? How did it go?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Vibes are coming all of our ways.
Boom.
It's pretty.
I'll check in with Mr. Hatch, but I know that that's a lot of pressure. I don't care whether you got a 5. It's great if you do, but I just think it's an amazing. You guys piloted this class this year. You helped make it what it was and what it will be, and you can always say that you were the first class in Burbank Unified to do AP African American Studies. That's huge. So thank you for that. Thank you for putting yourself out there. Ms. Ponser-Kamkar is going to share the video of your presentation because I begged her to record it for me.
Yeah.
But just in all aspects, it's been a huge honor and pleasure to get to know you and to learn from you. And I have no doubt that our paths will continue to cross, and we're still going to meet and talk about ways that we can improve our fabulous district. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, the tremendous Andranik Bilbulian from Burbank High School.
Good evening, Board President Weisberg, distinguished board members, Superintendent Paramo, district staff, and members of the Burbank community. My name is Andranik Bilboin, and it is with pleasure that I provide a report this evening on all previous, current, and future Burbank High activities. The semester is coming to an end with senior activities, AP exam, and finals week. This school year went by faster than I would have wanted it to, but it has been nothing short of the senior year I hoped for. Prom took place last night at the Santa Anita racetrack. The venue was beautiful and the dance floor was packed all night. My two close friends, Sarkis and Milia, won Prom King and Prom Queen, so congratulations to them. The event definitely made for a memorable night that seniors will remember way after their time at Burbank High School. Last night, ASB had our end of the year celebration. Everyone received a plaque with their name and position with a quick speech given about them by Emma, our vice president, or myself. We also had awards like Best Duo, Most Spirited, Cabinet's Choice Award, and a few others for members who deserved the special recognition for going above and beyond their positions. And we ended the night with senior gifts and a slideshow of our year together. Yearbooks were delivered yesterday. I had to include this in the report because I just got mine and they deserve the recognition. Miss Wynn and her yearbook students absolutely killed it this year. I have seen all the yearbooks since my freshman year, and this one is in a league of its own. So thank you to them for all their hard work and efforts they put into it. It definitely shows. Senior Sunset starts at 6:30 p.m. tonight. I will be joining my class after the meeting at the football field. Everyone is invited to bring their yearbooks so we could all have time to sign each other's and reflect on the year. And then the next event that I think seniors are most excited for, Grand Night, takes place tomorrow. Like Paris said, check-in's at 4:45 for us, and our first bus leaves to California Adventure at 5. We leave the park at 3 to get back at 4, and we're all very, very excited for it. We will then have our senior award ceremony on Monday at 6 p.m. and of course graduation ceremony on Friday, May 24th with finals week in between. Finally, since this is our last meeting together, I want to say thank you to all the board members and district staff for this experience. It has been nothing short of a pleasure to be more involved in a district I've been a part of for about 12 years now and seeing all the work that goes into it firsthand. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to work on a skill that I will be using for years to come. I have a lot of fun up here getting to practice my speaking publicly and presenting my reports. So thank you once again, and I could take any questions or comments.
How was the yearbook?
It was really good. It was like the cover itself looked so clean. They did like a dark blue this year. They had put timeless on it, and since we're the 115th, it was they did amazing. Like honestly, they killed it.
I know. I'm excited to see it too, because I was involved in the 115th. So I
Nice.
kind of heard.
They put a special section in it too with like all the pictures, like 3 pages full of small pictures of all the classes, the car show.
That's very
They made it
cool.
really nice.
Yeah. Mr. McGinnis and ASB did an awesome job on that event that day, and it's nice that it's part of the yearbook memories. So congratulations for that, and thank you for your year with us. It was appreciated. I know you're a very busy young man, and I see you going places, so tell us your pathway after graduation, please.
So I got a full ride at Pepperdine, so I wanna go there. Yeah. My brother's on the wait list for their law school, so we're hoping that, God willingly, he gets off the wait list and we go to school together.
Awesome.
I want to major in political science and then go to their law school as well.
Okay, so the advice I always gave my own children and my own students that Dr. Agakanian started to talk about, your 20s, your years after high school, the first decade, are for growing you. So take your time, enjoy the ride, travel, get as much education or whatever it is that it takes to grow you before your 30th birthday. And then you could start being a big-time adult.
Don't change his mind to go to SC. Finally, someone is going to Pepperdine, so. Sorry.
First off, as the former Burbank High board rep, I do have to, I'm so proud of what you've done to represent Bulldog Pride. The yearbook is amazing. I have seen actually photos on Instagram, so I haven't, seen in person, but as a former yearbook nerd as well, love Burbank High. They did a great job. So I'm going to miss our side conversations. We had our little quick back and forth. You were always very in touch with the campus. And you kind of know what beat was happening. And so when I would ask you feedback about, hey, what about this? You were able to clarify. We just did it, I think, last meeting. So I just really appreciate that. Full ride to Pepperdine. Holy cow. Holy cow. I mean, just the 3 board members here, the student board members here, I mean, what incredible outcomes. And really excited for what's ahead. Really, truly. So good luck with your brother. But more than anything, you've really made us proud. And you're a testament to really what's great about this district. It makes great product. And it is student achievement. So congratulations. Thank you.
Just as Board Member Ferguson said, full ride to Pepperdine is amazing. As someone who chose grad school based on who gave me the most money, it was a great decision because Student debt is not fun. So congratulations. One thing that I really appreciate about you coming to these meetings is, one, you always give us a lot of detail about what's happening at Burbank High. I feel like I'm there. And you do it with a smile, and you're always making jokes. And I really appreciate that about you. Like, you're very, I feel like I know what's happening at Burbank High because I'm going to get all the spirit days and be curious about what those are. And so congratulations. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for you.
Thank you.
Well, finally, someone's going to Pepperdine. What you've earned is very rare and difficult, to Pepperdine. And I'm not saying because I went there. I'm saying it because it's an expensive school. So good for your parents, by the way. But I'm also happy that your brother is going to be there. If hopefully he's on waiting list, he'll get in. But I think what's important again is, as I said to the other, representatives here, is study hard. Remember, it's not the school so much as we like to brag about it. It's who you are, the ability to network, having the friends around, but also making sure that you come back to the community and continue doing what you're doing as well. Because I know this was a service, but once you're an attorney, I hope you'll come back and, and work with and inspire some of the future leaders from our students as well. But I do want to also acknowledge the fact that all three of you have done such a wonderful job. And I think every year it just keeps getting better and better. And I think it's a testament of your also ability to influence other students to kind of follow in your pathway. So I'm just looking forward to see what you're going to do next, but also, as my colleague said, enjoy those years, but also at the same time, remember, no matter what you do, you're always going to be the former school representative at Burbank. That's something that's going to always be there. And once we get that plaque on the wall, it will permanently be on the wall. But again, I want to congratulate you and just let you know again, we're here if you need anything, one call or email away. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. What everybody else said is, I'm not done.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. No, all I was going to say is what everybody else said is absolutely true about you. It's been a pleasure to get to know you and to listen to you. And one thing I did want to say for all three of you is that, so I started my college career at Moore Park Community College, and it was the best decision I ever could have made. I got to take classes that I loved with professors who were like inspired and inspiring. I took classes for fun because I could afford to take classes for fun at Moore Park, and eventually ended up at the schools I wanted to end up with. Went to UCSB and USC, but there's so many different ways to get to where we want to go. And so I hope that you'll have as much fun making mistakes and as you do with all of the successes, and that changing your major, changing your school, changing your mind is all part of it, and it's really important. So you're three really extraordinary, driven people, and that's wonderful, but also it's a lot of pressure on yourselves. So it's gotten you to some really great places so far, and I just can't, it's going to be exciting for you at Pepperdine, at GCC, at UCLA, whatever you choose to, it's okay, I can say it. I still like UCLA. I commend their basketball program. But a sincere thank you for everything that you've contributed and all of the important information you'd shared with us about Burbank High.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. We're going to move on to 9B. This evening we have, this is our Burbank Teachers Association, BTA, California School Employees Association, CSEA, and Burbank Association of School Administrators, BASA. Tonight, the BTA president, Nicole Drabecki, is here, and we are honored to welcome her.
Good evening, Board President Emily Weisberg, Dr. John Paramo, our superintendent, members of the district and staff. My name is Nicole Jabecki, and I am the BTA president. First of all, I would like to give a really big thank you to the district overall for being there for Bret Hart last week. And I know that her loss is something I have taken very deeply. Karen was a BTA rep at Bret Hart. She advocated for her students and for all of her colleagues. And she believed deeply into the union of fighting for each other and making working environments and student learning environments better. So I appreciate you being there for the community of Bret Hart. I went to Bret Hart on Monday with Chris Boucher from the California Teachers Association, and we made sure that we had pamphlets to give to them in case they are struggling or need support. We made sure that we went to every single classroom and walked outside to the other building, and I know that our members were very appreciative, and so I just ask you that you continue to keep your eye out on them as we approach summer break, and obviously the summer months are going to be critical for them, and I just appreciate all that your support that you had for them. I want to talk tonight about our special ed teachers. So, you know, our special ed teachers have a really big task in what they do every day. And I want to bring up something that maybe you may not be so familiar with, which is IEP data collection and service tracking. And that's required by the California Department of Education. So our SPED teachers got a training 7 months ago. I believe it was in the pre-service time. So now this tracking, this data collection is actually going to be due tomorrow. And many of our members do not recall the steps or the process from what they did from the fall. In particular, I've heard from John Burroughs and Burbank High needing clarification regarding the tracking process. I believe a demonstration video was provided in training, obviously, like I said at the beginning of the year. Many members are concerned about the consistency in reporting this information. And so I want to read a message from Sharice Lewis. She's our BTA director at Burbank High and SPED teacher. She said, about a half a year ago, CTA warned us that the district was going to have to put this additional item on our SPED plate. CTA advised us to push for time and proper training. I was on a Zoom call, and this obviously came from the California Department of Education requirement. We need in-person, small group training. We need a couple of people from each school to attend a small group training and go back and train our colleagues. It needs to happen a week or two before the tracking window opens. Jennifer Nicholson did provide training in August of 2023 with almost every SPED teacher at BUSD. It was too many people. We weren't able to hear everyone or even know what questions to ask. Some people don't want to ask for help because they are burning out. But I just basically want you to know that this deadline is tomorrow. And I know a lot of our teachers are really stressing about it. So I just wanted to bring it up to your attention. I don't know if we need to have a training in the fall and then in the spring. Even if you provide a video, what if our members still have questions? And I think that's kind of a little bit what went down. Maybe a video was provided, but maybe still weren't quite sure. So I just want that to be a little bit better for the 24-25 school year for our SPED teachers, so that they feel like they're being trained appropriately and feel confident in exactly what they're doing. So that's all I have to say about that, and I'll speak later on tonight on another agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move to 9C, reports from the superintendent.
Thank you so much. I want to begin my comments today by thanking Nicole Drebecki for the the hard work she put into providing an amazing opportunity for our teachers last night. My only regret is that I wasn't able to be there. I picked up whatever stomach bug has been going around, so I apologize for not being there, but I heard it was very lovely, and I know it's a lot of hard work. So thank you for showing our teachers the appreciation that they deserve. As Nicole, as far as the IEP tracking situation, absolutely. If we need to change the service model on how we provide professional development, then that's exactly what we'll do. So you gave a couple of suggestions on what that could look like. I'll follow up again with you to make sure that I heard that correctly, but we can definitely do that. And it's important, and the ask is important, so we'll make it happen. Want to take a minute to thank all of our teachers in the Burbank Unified School District for all their hard work, particularly on the precipice of the last week of the school year. I know how much grading is involved. I know how much preparation you're putting into final exams, and I just want to say thank you for that work. I want to wish our students good luck on their final exams, particularly our seniors. I want you guys to finish strong and to do your best. It's important, and it's going to feel really good when you have your cap and gown on, knowing that you put your best foot forward. Having a little bit of trouble talking about Karen Lombardo. It's a huge loss. And I thank our school community for keeping it together for our kids. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, Dr. Paramo. We're going to move on to item 10, request to address the board. Any individual or group representative present this evening may address the Board of Education on any agenda item or on any subject within the jurisdiction of the school board by completing a white request card and turning it in to Ms. Quinterio. Speakers are requested to state their name prior to speaking to the board. Not more than 5 minutes may be allotted to each speaker except by unanimous consent of the Board of Education. The superintendent may refer the matter to the proper department for review. The district is providing alternatives to in-person attendance for viewing and participating. It looks like we had 3 virtual speakers. Is anybody on? 2. Okay, so the first person is Anna. Who is, could you tell me who's on?
Matthew Borowski.
Yes?
And Sarah H.
So Sarah H. is ahead just in the order of people who, so we'll go with Sarah and then Matthew.
There. This is Sarah. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for confirming. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I am a 16-year Burbank resident. I am fortunate to have 2 children here in Burbank, one of whom attends an elementary school here, another in preschool. I'm speaking in support of the Around the Bell program. We had heard some information in the last week or so that the survey that was sent out to those of us who have students in the Around the Bell program was to help clarify the services that the Around the Bell program was to provide. So I'm seeking clarity on the direction of the program because I have a child currently enrolled and then a child on the wait list who we hope will be joining upon entering kindergarten. What I'd heard was that it would potentially closing in favor of leasing the Around the Bell spaces to either expand the Boys and Girls Club presence or potentially adding the YMCA to on-site services as opposed to busing students from schools to the YMCA. I specifically want to talk about my support for the current employees of the Around the Bell program. One of the things I absolutely love about this program is that the teachers are employees of the school district. They are such high quality teachers. They are super engaged with all of their students. They don't just watch the kids, they actually engage with them. They help with homework, they help with social emotional learning. They help kids navigate those critical relationships as they're being developed through the elementary school years. I really appreciate all of the support that our Around the Bell teachers have provided to our family. They've provided invaluable guidance. We are first-time parents with our older son, so some of the feedback we've gotten from them has been tremendously helpful. The fact that there's such low turnover makes this program unique in that we know that our children are going to see the same teachers after school year after year, even though their primary classroom for K through 5, their teachers will change every year. So the fact that we have that continuity in those relationships is incredibly important to us. We realize that the program is not inexpensive to operate, but it's a critical service of the Burbank School District and sets us apart from some of our neighboring school districts in that we have such a high quality program. When we moved to Burbank 16 years ago, we were specifically interested in being here long term because of the school district. This is the reason why we live in Burbank. We love this community. We love our teachers, and we think that the Burbank Unified School District has the best teachers in California. Not that we're biased, we certainly are. So I filled out the survey. I gave my comments saying that we really like this program and it's super important to our family. We hope that our younger child will be joining the program when they enter kindergarten. So I just really wanted to highlight as a parent just how important this program is for us. And then I would like for the board to provide clarity as to what the long-term plan is for this program. Are you guys planning on keeping the credentialed teachers that we have? Or is there a possibility that you could be changing, modifying the program, potentially changing who staffs the program and potentially letting other providers come into the campuses and take over those spaces? So if you could expand on that and help us understand what the plans are, we would really appreciate it. And I will yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you so much. Is Matt still there, Dr. Macias? Great. Mr. Vorosky, whenever you're ready.
Yes. Hello, Matthew Vorosky here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I am here similarly as to the previous speaker. We just wanted to speak out in support of the Around the Bell program. I had heard similar things were in consideration by the board, and I wanted to add an anecdote. I too had heard the possibility of opening up the program to include services from either the YMCA and or Boys and Girls Club. As far as I'm concerned, the number one asset of ATB are its credentialed teachers. My child has experienced both Around the Bell and YMCA care. And unfortunately, at the YMCA, he was mistreated by the staff, resulting in the filing of a lawsuit on his behalf, which was ultimately successful. During that difficult process, just the lack of care and responsibility claimed by the YMCA was rather alarming. And I wanted to draw contrast to his subsequent wonderful teachers at the Around the Bell program. And he has partaken in summer care, daily after school care, and all of the teachers that have worked with him have really allowed him to heal and flourish over the last few years. And so I would strongly urge you to take steps to retain Around the Bell and to continue to lend support for its excellent teachers. Really just, I've been blown away. And that's it. I too will yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vorotsky. We will move on to our public comment cards for in-person public comment. First, we have Schlossman, followed by Debbie Winstein.
That's not what it says on the card.
It is what it says on the card, sir.
Well, we need to have an investigation because that's not what I wrote on the card. So did you change it? Well, why would you do that?
Because the name you put on is a joke name?
I'm J.G. Wentworth. It's my money, and I'll spend it the way I want to spend it. And you're such a hypocrite, you are. You're a piece of crap. You stand up for people who, it's okay with you for a man to call his name, to change his name to a woman's name, but if I want to change a man's name to a man's name, I can't do it, you hypocrite. But I do have a sense of humor too. But I want you to respect my wishes. And you had no right, Madam Secretary, to add my name to it. None.
Direct your comments to us, not to Ms. Quintero, please, or we'll have you removed.
Go ahead. You've threatened me with that on a regular basis. I'm here to address my elected officials. It's my right. It's my duty. Ms. Weisberg, you're diabolical in what you do. Regarding this bond, you'll never pay a dime of it because the state has capped your rent. You're a renter, and you know it. You're going to pass this cost on to the property owner. You'll never have to pay it. Yeah. Okay. And another thing, you're diabolical in the way you do things. You changed around public comment. You eliminated the last period of public comment so people can't talk to you about agenda items. Because of the Brown Act, you can't discuss things with me or anybody here from previous meetings. Don't shake your head, it's a fact. It's the law. It's a clever plan, and you're not held accountable, and you did it on purpose. I want to talk about things that happened 2 weeks ago, and you won't be able to respond to me in a full manner. You're allowed minuscule responses. I want to ask Mr. Ferguson about something he said 2 weeks ago. He said, I'm 6'4". I walk my dog at night and I feel threatened. And I want to ask him, what are you talking about and how does it relate to the Burbank Unified School District, sir? I mean, I came up here 2 weeks ago and I asked you all kind of questions and you ignored every one of my questions. But a student came up, a teenager, and said, this is an investment. And you took turns praising him. Yeah, I don't take advice from teenagers who live at home. I don't trust their investment advice. Parents came up here and they had concerns about influences on their kids, and they were legitimate concerns, and you were disrespectful to that group of parents that had concerns. Children are impressionable. You don't get it because you don't have any children and you just can't relate on a certain level to parents who do have children. It's not a put down. I'm not trying to put you down. It's a fact. Mr. Ferguson, look, this is a business here we're running. These are business decisions you have to make. Take the emotions out of it. The crying doesn't go. It doesn't bode well for good decisions. Emotions, you don't make good decisions when you're emotional. Yeah, you do, because you cry here on a regular basis, and you have to make cuts. You have fewer students. The time is here. Stop asking us for more money. Over $1 billion. Item 11H on your agenda. Can somebody please tell me what a confidential employee is? You're going to spend $97,306 to give some people raises. You know, the raises never end. They're built into their contracts. They're called step raises, and there's more than a dozen of them. Yeah, all they have to do is show up and breathe, and they get step raises. It has nothing to do with performance. It's thanks to the union, it's built into it. And you've stuck the people, the citizens of Burbank, the taxpayers, the ratepayers, with the bill. Not everybody's hitting grand slams, home runs for you. You know, you've got some mediocre employees too. They're not all perfect. Stop telling us they are. This $97,000 per year, does that include the pensions? The pension contribution? It's a question for you, Mr. Paramo. Here's 4 people that you're giving it to, and you figured a way you will reclassify them, give them a new job title and a raise. That's what you've done. You got money for everything under the sun except to fix the roof or fix the air conditioner that you claim is broken. I asked Mr. Cantwell, how much have you spent in the past 3 years on DEI? Do you know? It's $750,000, over $750,000. Are you getting your money's worth? That's my question to you. Of course you're going to say yes, you'll double down. It's priceless. I already know what you're going to say. But you had a teacher, 2 teachers that came before you in the past two meetings, and they said, we've got racial issues. And you know what you did? You cut him off. And he had important things to say. You said, sir, you're out of time. 27 seconds left. Empire Center become the crime mecca of Burbank. Americans are choking on fast food prices. All of this stuff is intertwined. And when you make things harder on everybody with this bond, you're going to have more crime. Ask the police chief. And when I fill out a fucking card, you call me by the name I put on that card. That's my right.
Let's try to keep the emotion out of it. Sorry. I am sorry that you have to follow that. Ms. Winstein, followed by, yay, Doug Nickel. Go Burrows softball.
Okay. My name is Debbie Winstein. I'm here with my colleagues Michelle Fitzpatrick and Lori Kelly from Miller Elementary. To Superintendent Paramo, Board Member Weisberg, and members of the board. We, the undersigned members of the staff of Joaquin Miller Elementary School, are humbly writing to request that the assistant principal position at our school be reinstated in the district's fiscal stabilization plan. The AP position at our school is vital to the functioning of our large, diverse school. There are 769 students at Miller Elementary. 275 of them, or 36%, are English language learners. Many of this group are newcomers to our community. A large percentage of our students would be Title I, although we can no longer calculate this percentage exactly, as all students currently receive free lunch. Our students come from 21 different countries and speak 17 languages, excluding dialects. In the special education department, our school hosts both a resource support program and a behavioral support program. Approximately 60 to 70 individualized education plans, or IEP, meetings, and 40 to 50 student study team, SST, meetings are held each year. Additionally, we have a number of students who are on 504 plans to support their educational success. Within the BSP program, some student behavior is significant and requires administrative support. Additionally, since the pandemic, we have seen a rise in a number of extreme behaviors in the general education classroom, including destruction of property, physical altercations, and racially and gender-based discrimination. Here is a partial list of our assistant principal's responsibilities on campus. Coordinates positive behavioral interventions and supports, which is our PBIS program, facilitates restorative and social justice programs, and responds to student behavior, including extensive and time-consuming meetings with parents and students, completes more than 12 teacher evaluations annually, reviews 50% of our report cards 3 times a year, manages and coordinates approximately 50% of SST and IEP meetings, manages and coordinates most 504 plans, coordinates staff meetings and staff development, responsible for oversight and school-wide data indicating areas of need, monitors yard supervision staff, runs data chats with each grade level and co-coordinates RTI programming, regularly meets with students and families in need of extra support, coordinates school-wide assemblies, administrates school events, including this year, our 100th year and celebration, chorus sing-along, movie night, and multicultural night, and provides invaluable support to teachers on campus in a myriad of other ways, and works tirelessly to boost school morale. As you can see, the assistant principal is absolutely vital to the success of our school. The needs on our campus are too great to be managed by a single administrator. The AP's roles and responsibilities cannot be absorbed by other staff members on campus. Many of them will simply not get done. Furthermore, as you know, the staff at Miller is struggling. We have lost nearly 20 teachers over the last several years, and many teachers feel that the past 3 years have been among the hardest of their careers. The staff has been deeply discouraged by the news that we will be losing a team member who plays such a key role in the success of our students and our school. We urge you to find a solution that maintains critical support for the students and the staff at Miller, and it's signed by 50 Miller staff members. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, let me get my Doug Nickel, followed by Rebecca Burcham. Hello.
I got a little really ate by my card. Good evening, President Weisberg. Excuse my voice is out. I'm a PE teacher. And so I've been doing a lot of finals this week, and I've been talking a lot to the rest of the board, to Dr. Paramo, all my friends that I've known for a long time here that I see in the room. Thank you. I wanted to come here and, my name's Doug Nickel. I teach at John Muir Middle School, PE teacher, and I also am the varsity softball coach at Burroughs. If you remember last year we came here, we filled the place with a lot of kids, a lot of players, and they let you know how they felt about, they just didn't feel like they were being treated fairly, and that they were lacking some things. The point of being here tonight is to say thank you, is that you guys came through, the district came through, everyone came through, we felt the support. Some of the things that happened in the interim, Mr. Ferguson came and saw what it was like to be a Burroughs softball player, put the backpack on his back and walked with some of the players on the team. I saw you at games, and I've seen you around all the time. It really made an impact on the girls. Some of the things that we were able to accomplish, literally the very next day, is that we got new bullpens put in coordination with the Park and Recreation Department, which is huge. We got improved storage. We got double the storage, and that was a big issue that we had because we just didn't have anywhere to put our stuff. We got a new outfield fence, so we had a real softball field. If anyone came to see it, it was really cool. And the other coaches in the league and stuff were like, wow, it looked really nice. And we got a team room at school. So the girls had their own place for the first time to call home, where we did a lot of teaching, a lot of chalk talks, and a lot of stuff they were able to do with the kids. And so we just had our banquet last night, and it's just been incredible. So a lot of the players would have come, but they got other more important things right now, like getting ready for finals, and they had the banquet last night. But I wanted to give a few special thanks, and this is in no way to disregard anybody, but Dennis Maxwell. He is like the greatest person ever. I call him and say, our storage is getting a little messed up, and he has a crew there within hours, not the next day, within hours. Dennis is just incredible, and I'm so thankful for him. Whatever I need, he gave me a cell phone, which in itself is just awesome. Andrew Cantwell, who was there the next day and was, what do you need? Gave me a cell phone number and said, if you ever need anything, and him and Dennis were there together, and it was in front of the girls while we were practicing. They were over on the side, and it was just awesome that the girls got to see that their voice mattered and that action was being taken. And so I thank you for that. Another person is one of my best friends in life, Oscar Macias. Oscar's the greatest, and he would just pop into practice. He popped in this year, and as the former Luther principal, he knew a lot of those girls. And so he just popped in one day just to watch practice. And I said, what are you doing here? And he said, I'm just here to lend my support. Thank you. That's the kind of things that you notice. And the girls noticed it. So I just want to say thank you for that. And then also kind of shout out, I know it's not your department, but our relationship with the Burbank Park and Recreation Department used to be adversarial. I've been coaching the borough since '93. And so I've been around a long time. It used to be very adversarial because they wouldn't want to give it. Diego Savalos is incredible with his team, Rena, John, Christine Rumfola. They come, and it's such a great relationship now. We have a camp June 10th for anyone that wants to sign up. We have a camp that we work in conjunction with them that starts June 10th. And it's just a great collaboration, and I'm just really, really thankful. And I told the girls that we were going to do this today. Someone would have liked to have come here, but like I said, they couldn't. But just thank you. You asked me to come back, and you said, please come back. And I believe in giving credit where credit is due. And you guys deserve a huge thank you, and we appreciate it. So thank you from Burroughs Softball. I'm going to turn it around just a second, okay? It's still positive. Couple weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago, Greg Miller came here and spoke to you and told you all the great things at Muir. And here's the problem with Greg. The problem with Greg is he is so good at giving everyone else credit that he never gets any. I know you guys probably do. And so I'm here to tell you that when he was up here, he thanked everybody, but him and his administration, it is incredible the culture that Dr. Miller has built at John Muir. He is just an incredible principal, an incredible person, and I just wanted to give him a shout out and let you guys know how awesome that he is as a principal, and I'm honored to work for him. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca Bertram, followed by Greg Samarge. Am I pronouncing that wrong? Yes.
Hello, district staff, school board members, and Dr. Parmo. I am here today to express my concern and disappointment regarding the recent decision to cut assistant principal positions in BUSD. This decision has deeply troubled the school community and threatens to undermine the progress and hope that they have instilled in our wonderful students and staff. I urge the school board to reconsider this decision and prioritize the well-being and success of our students and staff. Cutting essential positions like that of APs undermines the quality in education and support that our students deserve and receive. The focus should be on investing in the people who directly impact the lives of our students every day. I implore the school board to explore alternative solutions that do not compromise the integrity and effectiveness of our school leadership. We absolutely cannot afford to lose another adult in our post-COVID hallways. It can't happen. Thank you. I firmly believe that retaining our dedicated assistant principals is crucial for the continued success and growth of our schools. Lastly, the prospect of newly appointed assistant principals and curriculum specialists being forced into lesser paying positions and backward career moves is deeply troubling and unjust. Thank you for taking the time to consider my concerns. I hope that you will give careful thought to the impact of this decision on our school community and take the necessary steps to rectify it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Greg Samarge, followed by Christy Lopez.
So a little bit of a theme here, so apologies. But what I'm going to do is, just like Coach back there, you guys get this done. I'm coming back in September, and I'm thanking you personally. And there may be cupcakes. It's not a bribe. I'm just saying there may be cupcakes. Members of the board and the school board, thank you guys for being here. My name is Greg Samarge, father of a 7th grader over at Luther, a 5th grader at Roosevelt. He'll be going to Luther next year. I also spent 2 years on the BUSD Budget Advisory Committee when that was still a thing. It was fantastic, although obviously we have more work to do still. I also come from a family of educators. My mom and sister have been principals or vice principals in Santa Monica, Malibu Unified School Districts for 30 years. So I have a background in here, and I only mention that just because I've been around this for a while. I'm addressing today because of concerns around the current state of the district and proposed suggestions for retaining assistant principals in the middle schools. I can only speak for middle schools because that's the age my kids are through right now. I'm sure it's an issue at all levels, but middle school is hard, right? We need help there, and it's working how it is right now. I really need your help. It's crucial to recognize that reducing the number of adults in middle school, specifically skilled administrators such as assistant principals, has a significant impact on the ability of our middle school schools to effectively educate and counsel, discipline, and keep students safe. Without the presence of an administrator trained in such important skills such as conflict resolution, behavioral management, and a number of other skills, we're really putting our kids at a disadvantage, and most importantly, there's a safety concern. Obviously, there are a lot of concerns about allocations of funds. I've seen it firsthand. I know how difficult this is. So I didn't want to come here, with no solutions in mind. So I want to just share a couple of ideas here. Specifically, I understand some other schools and sites are choosing to use Title I funds in order to pay for assistant principals. If you ask staff members if they'd rather have an assistant principal or things like Cahoots and iReady, I guarantee I can tell you what the answer is. I have a son, two sons who use all of these services, including the assistant principals, and the reality is it's not close, guys. I mean, it's not even remotely close. So just I know it seems like such an easy decision because it's about the education of kids, but I'm telling you, as someone who witnesses it firsthand, it makes a difference to have these assistant principals on hand. In the event that the AP position is not chosen, understood, consider that'll all fall to a Title I coordinator. And what I would like to do is implore you to consider making the Title I coordinators a .2. So that would allow for the funds to be there so we don't have to lose people that we can't afford to lose. It's also crucial to recognize the value of dedication and contributions of long-term BUSD employees. They live here, they work here, their children go to school here. One of these is Mrs. Jill Tobin. Again, it doesn't happen, it's not a surprise that it's from Luther. There's a lot of people here who know this person very well. I know her very well. And what I'm telling you is her effect on that school, I've seen before and after. Seen it firsthand. I know a lot of people here have as well. And it's conclusive, it's decisive, it's objective. Retaining experienced and committed staff members is essential for maintaining a strong and supportive educational environment. The mass exodus of highly qualified individuals in the school district is alarming. We can't lose any more really good ones, and this would be a really good one that we would lose to this. It's concerning to hear the school district is facing the challenges, both internally and externally. Maintaining longtime Burbank residents and stakeholders. We actually heard it, on the phone earlier, who have vested interests in BUSD can be a valuable asset in reinvigorating the district. Their deep connections to the community and commitment to the students can help bring positive change and stability. By working together, we can figure this out. This can get figured out. Trust me, we don't want to lose a person of this magnitude, and this is just one of the people. You've heard from other folks tonight. I appreciate you guys working on this problem. It means a lot, and I promise I'll be back in September if you guys get this done. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Christy Lopez, followed by Aram Arakalian.
Good evening. My name is Christy Lopez. I'm with the Office of State Senator Caroline Menjivar. Good evening, board members, staff, student, and parents. The purpose for my public comments is to share that the senator spoke on the floor this morning to honor the life of beloved teacher Karen Lombardo. Additionally, she and Senator Portantino requested that the Senate be adjourned in her honor. Senator Menjivar, as a social worker, knows how such a profound loss can affect staff, parents, teachers, and students, and asked that I attend today to drop off mental health resources. With the permission of the board, I will leave those out front. On behalf of State Senator Caroline Menjivar, I extend my sincerest condolences to the BUSD family. Thank you.
After our current speaker, Ms. Britta Maslick, and that's the last card that I have.
Hello, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I rise today in opposition to the adoption of Resolution 38 for the proposed support of Pride Month. The alphabet movement is one of that is sexual in nature and should have no place in the school district with children as young as 5. The movement hides behind twisted positive wording like love and acceptance, but in reality, in a school setting, it is more about indoctrination and sexualization of children, from which nobody except pedophiles benefit. If any of you have taken the time to look into the illegal and immoral child sex trafficking that is occurring in the world today, that is documented in productions such as The Sound of Freedom, you will know that the first objective of a pedophile is to open up conversations about sex with children in a supportive and caring manner. From there, little by little, their thoughts and actions are sexualized and the worst types of atrocities are committed. The policies that this board has implemented provide for a safe space, not for children, but for pedophiles. I am sure that almost all the educators in the school district are good, decent, moral people and have no interest in these sexual conversations. But if there are some pedos, they would have ideal conditions to carry out their satanic acts. Romantic love, known as eros in Greek, is not about sexual acts. It is about sacrifice, loyalty, unity with your mate, and falls under the rights of parents to teach their children. The parents in this community have not relinquished this right to this school board. We send our kids to school to learn academics, not sexual preferences and socially controversial issues. What is being implemented in our schools is the opposite of love, because it denies that each person is willfully, carefully created by their Creator and is loved the way they are. Our purpose for each of us can be found in the physical bodies which we are given. God does not make mistakes. If you think that, it would benefit you to look into your own understanding to find that error. The errors in understanding all stem from lies. Lies such as having the wrong body, or that it's okay to alter your body, or misuse the functions of your body to perform perverse acts. All these lies come from the father of lies, the devil. And one of the most dangerous weapons is the alphabet movement. It is a rejection and perversion of God's creation of man and marriage. It is not too late for you to be on the right side of this issue, the side that the Lord of heaven and earth, Jesus Christ, calls you to be on. Reevaluate your thinking and change this course that the school district is directed towards. He will gladly forgive you for your mistaken foolishness and welcome you into the kingdom if you put your faith and trust in Him. I'd like to also end as a message to the rest of the community. A man who knows a thing, who is aware of a given danger and sees the possibility of a remedy with his own eyes, has the duty and obligation by God not to work silently, but to stand up before the whole public against the evil for its cure. If he does not do so, he is disloyal, miserable weakling who fails either from cowardice or from laziness and inability. And that's why now I come here to also call for the rest of the community to remove these board members. 3 of them are going to be up for election this year. Elect decent, moral people who will make the right decision for your children. A majority of this board I don't think even has children in the school district, so they have no interest in the outcomes. They will not suffer the consequences that their policies put in place. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Great. Britta Maslick, and our last card is Nicole Drebecki.
I feel like we all need to go out to dinner. I'm here so much. Okay, hi, good morning, afternoon, and evening. Okay, dear board members, dear President Weisberg, Superintendent Dr. Paramo, district staff. My name is Britta Maslick. I've worked in the district for 34 years. I was in the classroom for the first 10 years. I'm sorry, I've been in AP testing all year, and have been in my current position as a counselor at Burbank High School for the last 23 years. I give this as context as I've worked with over 30 different administrators during that time and have seen a myriad of programs during this time. I have come with a solution to save $350,000 so that positions can be saved. Isn't that great? Okay, here we go. I want to discuss a specific budget item from the Town Hall LCAP meeting that I feel should not be continued to be funded during this budget crisis. I'm speaking of a program that has struggled from its inception, FSA, which stands for Family Service Agency. Super controversial. There are 3 facets to the FSA-based counseling services provided to the district. The first one, and this is just for context for our audience, is that FSA provides individual counseling services. Currently, the city of Burbank is amazing because city of Burbank is providing, my understanding, $245,000 to support this program. So this funding is for students to be seen on the secondary campuses by counseling interns. Staff is proposing to add an additional $131,000 of funding from the supplemental LCAP to this $245,000. And $100,000 of this funding was new this year and was approved by the board, as you know, as I sent in an email, in a consent agenda item last fall. Secondly, the wellness care centers at the comprehensive high schools are also something that is staffed by FSA and paid, the district pays for that. In the 23-24 school year, $100,000 was funded by the supplemental LCAP, and it was also approved by the board in a consent agenda item. And in the coming year, staff shared that this $100,000 for the care centers is to be paid for by Title IV funds. If I don't have that correct, please make sure you correct me. The third thing that FSA provides is counseling services to students who have an IEP. This is a separate funding source and does not come out of LCAP funding. In addition, if I understood correctly, Dr. Paramo shared on Tuesday at the LCAP Town Hall that the money spent on the Hanover study will increase from $52,000 this year to $116,000 next year in order to study the efficacy of FSA. Please consider not funding the Hanover group for this coming year. That would be a saving of $116,000. I've been at Burbank High School since the inception of the FSA counseling program, which stemmed from a need our students communicated. Our students said, we need more adults to talk to. Mr. Ferguson remembers that, I think. And our school leaders and city leaders listened to our students and deemed additional counseling services important enough to provide funding for these. Again, currently, I believe the city contributes about $245,000 for these individual counseling services. Again, not the SPED services. Unfortunately, though, the program has not lived up to the expectations of our students, parents, and staff. I would like to share some anecdotal evidence to support this statement. Every year, I refer students, and it often takes months for the students to be seen by a counseling intern. One particular client this year was referred in early September and was not seen until March. Now, we think that this might be an anomaly, but it's not. As I speak to my colleagues at all of the secondary sites and district administrators, they have had similar concerns at each site since the inception of this program. I'm not saying that when a student does get to the counseling intern and they do see that intern, they are getting serviced for the most part. Most of them are great. You know, you always have some that might not be great, and kids are being served. But overall, the program is not what we are communicating it is. And so that's a concern of mine. As I speak to my colleagues at all of the secondary sites and district administrators, they have similar concerns. These concerns have been, am I done? Oh, that is so sad. Okay. Lots more to say about the Wellness Center. So,
Thank you so much, Ms. Maslick. Okay. I'm so sorry, Mr. Becky. You are our final speaker for this evening. Thank you, guys. I completely spaced.
Thank you, Board President Weisberg, Superintendent Paramo, district staff, and public. My name is Nicole Jabecki. I am the Burbank Teachers Association president. I am a proud PE teacher at Dolores Huerta, been in the district 17 years, a proud homeowner who loves paying property taxes for the better good of our students. So I do want to discuss the lovely fiscal stability plan from 2024 to 2027. Obviously, our BTA members have been affected by layoffs in March, what has already happened to 9 members. So as we start to look into the future years, For single subject members, 25, 26, 3 members are going to be losing a job. In 26, 27, 5.6 members of single subject losing a job. Then when we go to our elementary schools, we have 5 teachers losing a job in 25, 26, 5 in 26, 27. Now we're talking about Monterey. We have members who are going to be losing a job there. 2 in 24, 25, and 1 in 25, 26. We have eliminating of elementary PE in 25, 26 and 26, 27, which are elementary teachers desperately need to have collaboration time to work with their grade levels in grades 3, 4, and 5. We have elimination of 5 counselors, intervention at the secondary level. We actually had the teacher retirement last night, and I know one of the teachers who is retiring would have stayed on another 2 years had there not been cuts coming to that particular area. So I also see Around the Bell looking like they're going to have some staffing reductions, which is also our BTA members. And then, as you kind of see of all that I've mentioned, that's a ton of BTA members, and those are the people who are in the face of our students Monday through Friday, 180 days. We finally see in 25, 26 an elimination from an elementary director at the district level, and CSEA has an elimination of 5 PE aides in 25, 26, 26, 27. So as much as I am all for all of our labor organizations, the BTA member is the one who has the most brunt. And we can attribute that to declining enrollment. And obviously, we know new housing is going up, but I'm curious, the new housing at Front Street that costs $4,500 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I like to know which family of 4 or 3 or 2 is going to be able to afford that. And obviously, we have the housing over there by the 5 freeway. So, the bottom line is we have 100,000 people who live in Burbank, and about 68 to 70,000 are registered voters. And I don't think those voters really know what's happening to our schools, because only a select few are watching these Board of Ed members. There's only a select amount of time that the Burbank leader is covering a board meeting and reporting it out to the public, and there's only so many printed copies of Burbank Leader, or unless you're able to get it online. I don't think our community sees what's happening to our schools, and even though we are getting a newcomer population, which has been helpful for us, this is about the Burbank community supporting Burbank schools. This is about our businesses, property owners like myself, giving back to our schools, because we want the best for our students for the future. It is the future of our students that determines the outcome of how the state of California is ran one day. And so I know that we're in the early stages of possibly having a bond maybe come in the fall, but I cannot stress how badly our members need funding of a parcel tax at some point to be supported by property owners, small businesses, and the big businesses in Burbank. And so I just ask any community member to please pay attention to these cuts that are coming to Burbank Unified. It is devastating and very harmful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brecky. Jacob Flores?
Hi there. Good evening, everyone. President Weisberg, members of the board, and district staff. I wasn't expecting to speak tonight, but Britta is my colleague over at Burbank High, and I know she worked really hard on the speech that she worked on. So let me just finish it for her, and then if I have any extra time, let me check. Okay, then I'll maybe tell you what it's like to be a counselor. But let me go into it. So This is from what Britta had written out. As I speak to my colleagues at all of the secondary sites and district administrators, they have had similar concerns at each site. These concerns have been communicated to the FSA staff, our BUSD district staff, and our site admin, yet these issues continue each year. In addition, communication with FSA is convoluted and several barriers exist so that school staff cannot get needed, timely information about the students being seen, by whom, and when. The wellness centers, or care centers, ideally exist to provide a safe drop-in space for our students. Unfortunately, most of the time, the wellness centers are used by students to skip class and avoid classwork. I just spoke with a student yesterday who had missed one of his periods 26 times and admitted to coming to the care center to avoid the class. It is protocol that after a student comes to the care center more than 3 times, that FSA contacts the student and offers them outside counseling services on a weekly basis. When I called the father of this student, he was unaware that the student was using the care center and that these were excused absences and therefore were not communicated to the parent. Students also know that if they go to the wellness center and the center is full, they will then receive a pass to return to class, which allows them to miss class for the first 15 minutes of class. While the wellness center is a great premise for student support, this system is broken, and I think maybe one of the reasons the district wants to have a Hanover conduct a survey on the efficacy of having FSA at the secondary schools. To piggyback off of that, our amazing teachers actually created a comprehensive survey at Burbank High School that was given to our entire student body about 2 weeks ago, thanks to our amazing principal, Mrs. Barzagar, and with the consent of the teaching staff, every class was given time to have students respond to this survey. The student responses were honest and in some cases very raw. Different subjects were discussed, but there are highlights in regards to FSA. Time does not permit me, or it didn't, to review them with you, but I will email them to you. As a counselor, I believe in individual counseling. I believe in providing a space for students to decompress and find support. I have benefited personally from both of these. I do not believe, though, in continuing to fund programs that are not working well for our students, specifically FSA. I'm interested in seeking out additional agencies that would be interested in partnering with BUSD. Maybe there are programs out there that would provide a more complementary relationship with an agency. And as we are in a fiscal crisis, I do not think spending additional funds on the FSA counseling services at the secondary level is wise, as there are many concerns. I propose that we use this year to gather some information from other districts while freezing funding for FSA from BUSD, both for the Wellness Care Center and the additional counseling services. I want to end my time by communicating that I also believe it is super important to communicate to our city leaders how thankful we are for their funding of the current program. Thank you for considering this request to not fund the $350,000 that I have discussed. How much time do I have left? 1:35. That's not much time. Okay. Well, I guess I can just summarize by kind of explaining to people what a counselor does. I really appreciate, by the way, many of us appreciated the survey that went out in December, I think, about LCAP funding priorities from staff members and from the members of the public, and I think Goal 2 had the highest percentage for secondary counselors. So we so appreciate that because so many of us have come from eras where people were like, well, what does a counselor even do? And to kind of explain what that is really difficult. So I got a minute, let me see if I can do it. So I'm one member of 6 counselors, and there are close to 2,450 students, something like that. So my caseload is 430 students. I have 9th through 12th graders. I have to meet their academic needs, their personal social needs, and their college and career going needs. That means I have to make sure that 9th through 12th graders are all scheduled in the correct classes. Keep in mind that's difficult when people are coming from out of the country and there are difficult, complex transcript situations that you have to deal with. Mental and emotional support comes in the form of QR codes. I think like in the past 3 years since I've been there, I think my QR codes are like, they must be over 5,000 individual requests. So you have to follow up with those students to meet for a variety of different needs. I can easily meet with about 70 students in one day, one-on-one. And then college and career going basically means I have to make sure that everyone's supported with whatever options they do after high school. So that can be tough when you have 100 seniors. I think I got it. Time? Okay, got it. Cool.
Thank you, Jacob. Okay, we are going to move on to superintendent comments, followed by board member response.
Thank you. There's a lot to tackle today. I'm going to try to group some of these together. I wanted to address the virtual speakers, Sarah and Matt, regarding the Around the Bell program. What I'd like to say is that I understand completely the value of the program. I think the board does as well. We have been trying to offset the cost of Around the Bell by using district funds, and we're not able to do that any longer. Just because of our fiscal crisis, that's just not possible. That does not mean we're trying to get rid of Around the Bell. What we're trying to do is to create a program that is sustainable, and what that means is that the program could exist, for example, for next year, but it's going to mean that we're going to have to increase the fees in order to be able to have your kiddos at the Around the Bell program. The board has called for an ad hoc committee to look at childcare, and we will start that and work on what the program looks like in the future. But there's no intention of getting rid of Around the Bell for our next school year. As you know, if you're a parent and that has kids in Around the Bell, you know that the fees are going up. I want to address the groups that came up to talk about assistant principals. I totally get it. I understand that this is a burden. I was a middle school principal. I understand middle school kids. I spent most of my career at the secondary level, more than 20 years. And I understand. We just can't afford it. So if I don't cut assistant principals, what does that mean? That I'm going to cut curriculum specialists? That I'm going to cut intervention specialists? And I'm not being snarky in any way, but then I'm going to get parents coming here to tell me how valuable curriculum specialists are and that we can't get rid of them. And I understand that. That makes total sense. It makes sense to me, but this is not something that we can afford to do based on our budget. What I'm not sure that our community understands is that we knew this a year ago. When those assistant principals, 4 of those assistant principals that were hired with the understanding that it was for a single year. They signed a memo of understanding. They knew that this was for a year. So that's 2 years. No, when we signed the memo of understanding, it was for 1 year. Well, we tried. We didn't change the MOU. That's not what happened. We have signed an MOU for 1 year. What we said we were going to do is fund them for the following year because that's what we intended to do until we got a phone call from our county superintendent saying we needed to cut more. So we had to pull that trigger sooner. So I am very sympathetic of what is happening. I'm 100% understanding how important these people are. And in terms of Title I, I understand the request. Each school is allocated a specific amount of Title I funds based on their student population. So if a principal has enough money to leverage their dollars to be able to add a point to, or to be more creative with that, they can do that. That is something that the principal works on with his school site and with the school stakeholders, and they put their plan together. We do look at the plan, but in all honesty, we've never micromanaged that plan. And so there are some schools that receive a lot more Title I dollars than other schools, and they're able to be a little bit more flexible. But that is the situation, and I know how hard it is. I'm really glad, Doug, that things are working out for the girls, and it makes me very proud as superintendent that Dennis and Andy and Oscar were able to respond so quickly. If we can get this bond passed, then we can further support our girls in softball with much needed fields that they've been waiting a long time to have. So if it works out that way, then they will have that benefit. In terms of board item 11H with the salaries, that does include benefits. I want to thank Christy Lopez and the senator for the support. Our community is definitely mourning and grieving right now, and those support services are very much welcome. Britta, honestly, I totally understand with FSA and what you're bringing forward. I want to make one clarification just so that we're on the same page. The Hanover study is not something I can't just get rid of. We have metrics and plans that include survey data from the community. And so what has happened with that line item is that the amount has increased. So if we didn't increase it, it would still be about a $50,000 item. We're not paying Hanover Research more money to do a survey. What we're doing is asking Hanover Research to do a more in-depth study, which includes focus groups, which means they're actually meeting with kids, they're meeting with parents, they're meeting with teachers, administrators, to figure out what is working well, where can we improve, and what does that look like. I think that's important data. I think that's important data if we're going to make any changes to the way we are servicing our kids with mental health. We have been longtime partners with FSA. We've been getting support from the city. If we're going to make any changes, I want to do that in a manner in which we're using data and a manner in which we're gathering that data and in a very impartial way so that there's credibility to it. And that's why I think it's a worthwhile investment. Nicole, I can't tell you how many times I've looked at that fiscal stabilization plan. It gives me a stomach ache. When you identified certificated teachers and those reductions, those are based on the percentages we're projecting the enrollment to decrease. I know you know that. I know the elementary PE thing is a priority, and I will make it my priority as we move forward. And if that's something that we can help with financially, then we'll look into that, and I'll be a partner with you in that. All the budget cuts that we've been talking about and all the reduction in staffing is, in my opinion, the staffing that we're allowed to have based on our budget. This is it. Based on what we receive from the state of California and the funding formula, this is what we can afford to staff. If we could afford to keep our additional employees, then we would keep those additional employees. But this is it. This is staffing based on budget. I don't have any more budget to increase staffing. Yes, we need to look at a lot of different things. And obviously, from my opinion, this is not new. I've said this before. We do need to look at a parcel. And the community has to decide if our current staffing, the way it is not what you envision for the schools in Burbank, then we have to have a conversation about it. Because I don't think that the state of California is going to change their funding formula for Burbank, California. I don't see that happening. And so we're going to have to figure out how else to do that. And it's not just a parcel tax. I'm open to other ideas. We've been talking about them, but we're going to have to really look into that and make sure that we are putting something forward that makes sense. At the moment, my focus is on a bond. That's what's coming up, and that's what I'll focus on. And depending on the outcome of that, we might be able to start making room to having the other conversations that would include a parcel.
What is a confidential employee?
Thank you.
Board responses? Ms. Tabbitt.
When you sign up, put your name on the dotted line to become a board member, put the form out, get folks to sign it, run an election, and by the grace of God, get elected and take a seat. You know there's going to be days, times when you're going to make people unhappy and they're going to come and yell at you and say things. And you know that when you sign up. It's part of what we do. And I sit here week after week and I never say a word. You just sit here and I take notes and I listen. And sometimes you get so angry you want to throw things, but you don't. Because I know that's what I'm supposed to do. And normally with bad behavior, I don't say a word, or poor behavior, or wrong choices, whatever. But I cannot allow someone to be attacked for doing what she interprets her job to do. And I know this human being and know she knows her jobs, and I know she does it well. Mr. Cantwell, Dr. Paramo, we have a civility code, I believe. Would you please send Mr. Schlossman a letter including our civility code? He has every right to be here. He has every right to say what he wants to say, but I'm going to draw the line at attacking our employees. I'm not okay with that. Thank you very much. Secondly, as a public official, we get people of varied opinions. And I so appreciated, as I had to listen to some of the ugliest words I've ever heard in my life, spewed out about, again, our employees, about people who enter our school sites, about our children, even about our parents in the district. And thank you so much for those in the audience, teachers and parents, whose faces said exactly what I was feeling. I really, really appreciate that. I felt supported in my thoughts. I don't cry often, but I really, really get upset when people's safety and the well-being of our students are put on the block like that person did. Pride Month is, as one of my favorite kindergarten teachers explained, it's letting people know that everyone is accepted. Everyone has a place. Everyone is welcome, regardless of your, even that gentleman and his family are welcome. It's what we do. And that, to me, is what that pride flag means. All I've asked of my own family and myself is just be kind. That's all it takes. And I'm sorry to get preachy, but he had no clue about really, obviously, what goes on our classrooms, because he was so far from the truth. It was disgusting. So I just want the community to know that some of the accusations he made are very untrue. That is not in our realm whatsoever. So please do some research, find out, talk to our amazing teachers about really what goes on in their classroom, because he was very, very far, very, very far. Thank you to the speakers who came out in support of the employees at their school that are being considered as part of the budget cuts. It is very hard. I try to explain to folks all the time, nobody wants to cut anything. If we put them in place in the first place, it's because there's value in what we need them to do. And so this becomes very hard then. We know how hard counselors work. We know what VPs do, or vice principals, sorry. Every day, I get emails all the time explaining, well, you just don't understand what they do. Of course we do, or they wouldn't be there in the first place. So this is very hard. There's going to be an answer, a better answer. I hope one day soon. To our parents that came down to speak again about, and our in-person callers about Around the Bell. My own children went through Around the Bell. It was vital for myself and their father to be able to go to work and know that our children were safe and well taken care of and was appreciated. And I hope whatever pathway we figure out to go down regarding after-school care, that it's just as meaningful and well done, which I'm sure it will be because that's how we do things in Burbank. Coach Nichols, thanks for coming back. It's always fun, and when we get a chance, next time I see you roundabout, I want to hear about the new format for your game schedule, what you thought of it this year. I know there was some controversy, but I want to see how it went. I didn't get to make it to a game this year, unfortunately. I was at a ton last year, but next season I'll make time for more. Because that's the things I love. Is this the time I get to talk about all the fun stuff I did? Okay. Okay. Anyway, if I missed anyone, it wasn't because I'm leaving you out purposely. I appreciate you speaking up, taking time to spend time with us. Yeah, thanks.
Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you. First off, thank you to everybody for coming down and speaking tonight. To Mr. Nichols, thank you for, asked and answered, so thank you for coming back. I think when we look at girls softball, we saw an example of what's possible, right? When we get concise lists of what the problems are, right? And how, and our district really is deployed on how to answer it. I certainly learned a lot from those young ladies on that walk. And there's still a whole lot to do as it relates to culture and catcalling and Lord knows. So I'm in no place to preach about it, but I know that we still have work to do on that front. And these ladies have played a remarkable season again, and represented the school district well. So I just thank you for your partnership. Thank you for also it is a part of state standards for our students to be able to learn how to approach their government and engage their government. You modeled that. Thank you. I'm glad they also have a room to put stuff, because the bags are heavy. To Ms. Maslick, thank you for your comments. This is a 23-year-old program. We definitely have heard feedback on it. There are close to 2,000 students who receive counseling through this service every year. City of Burbank absolutely has been a phenomenal partner in funding this for 2 decades. At one time it was at $275,000 and it's fluctuated, but they've pretty much kept it consistent. We do need to see if the model still works. We do still need to see our students being best served by this. There is a lot of focus from staff on what's happening with this program, and that seems to be a lot of tracking. And I want this to be a collaborative environment, and I think we need to work actively to make sure that that gets to that place. I think that the intention of this program really came from, and it came from young people. In 2001, 600 young people who were engaged on this, and one of the most critical components of what they were looking for was independence from the school district with who they spoke to. Independence. So that way they knew that individual wasn't going to go run off and tell their personal gossip down the hall on accident or out of place. The independence of it was what the students asked for. And I'm telling you because I was there. It was a critical component of what they asked for. So the guidance centers, or the wellness centers, I don't know why this continues to be a headache. And at this point, I don't know. So I think that can be addressed. Anyway, so I'm interested in seeing the Hanover report on this. Eventually, I want to see the more in-depth. I want to say I am wary of other mental health care providers that are county DMH providers who check boxes. I have seen that. We had one before that prescribed 15 minutes of care in an IEP, only to have 5 minutes coming down from class, 5 minutes coming back from class, and 5 minutes of care. What clinical work can be done in 5 minutes? That's a county DMH provider some of the time. But you've got to be on top of it. And we don't have enough clinicians that work for us that can supervise that work, not to mention also the liability. So I want to make sure that we're taking this on in a smart way. I'm all about modernizing programs, keeping programs accountable, but I'm not going to take, what is well-intentioned anecdotal evidence and just count it as the pervasive kind of truth yet until we see more definitive evidence. And if that's the case, great. FSA has been a great partner. They go above and beyond to fundraise, above and beyond what they pay, what the city gives and what the district gives. And they've been there for us in tough times. We were ahead of the curve in COVID with mental health response. Why? Because we had the program since 2001. So I realize there's feedback on it. I don't think we should be threatened by that. But I do think that there is a role for mental health clinicians, there's a role for academic counseling, and there's a role for the administrators to make sure that those two are communicating well. So I want to see more on that front. To our lovely speakers on Pride Month, thank you for coming down. Mr. Schlossman, you're 6'4". Well, first of all, let's start with crying. You know what? I'm an emotional guy. What can I say? And here's the thing. If you're not going to cry about student achievement, if you're not going to get misty-eyed about a student achieving their dream, what are you going to cry about? I come to this job every single day. I don't sit in the corner by the door, huffing and puffing, to fight for kids. All 5 of us do. Sometimes when I'm very connected to that moment, yeah, I cry. And I don't need no toxic masculinity defining my strength and my power in this moment, because that's all it is your brokenness trying to define my ability to communicate and emote. So I don't need a lecture from you, and if you want to know why I'm 6'4" and worried about walking at night, why don't you look at the video of your presentation? You have no control over yourself, sir. I know you, I have met with you, and you are not composed. You are losing control of yourself, and it is a terrible example. And you should do better. You call on me to do better, you should do better. You should do your ideas and your perspective better. This district deserves to have pride. This district deserves to have tears if they damn well please, if they call for that moment. And I don't need you or anyone else to define my intention here. I have given 9 years of my life to service of this district, and it has been the best 9 years of my life. Will I get more? Will I get less? I don't know. But you know what I have? 9 years of my life. We live 80 years maybe, if we're lucky. I'm proud that 10% went to the improved experience of students on our campuses. Don't tell me 10% of a life isn't worth it, or that my contribution should be devalued because I'm gay. No, you do when you talk about this because you're attempting to paint me as something that's weak. Far from it, my friend. Far from it. Get stronger on your end, get more secure on your end, and then come back and let's talk.
I can't snap, or I would have snapped, you guys. Thank you. Yes. Congratulations on being able to snap. Sad, you guys. Like, Ms. Sponsor Kamkar.
Thank you. I'm reflecting on what Member Ferguson was saying. The fact that many of us get emotional up here is testament to the fact that we care about this community, and that these choices are hard, and that we did sign up to get yelled at a little bit, and we take it, and at the same time we can hold that and also hold it like we care so much about this district. And so I think that gives us power. So with that said, I want to talk first about budget cuts, because that's what makes me misty-eyed too. I want to echo what Dr. Paramo said. Like, these are not easy decisions. These are all miserable choices. One of the things when we were looking at LCAP the other night was we were saying, like, okay, well, what have we already cut from this, right? Because there are a number of things that we've reduced in size. There are a number of things that we've already cut out entirely. And it's just a painful, painful process. And, you know, we're advocating at the state level. I don't think that the state of California is going to change how they fund us, though wouldn't that be nice if they at least gave us money for all of the students that have additional needs above and beyond? Wouldn't that be great? A number of us are meeting with State Senator Menjivar tomorrow to talk about some of the unfunded mandates that the state is putting forward, some of the things that they don't give us money for, but they're asking us to do. But I do think the answer is likely going to be a parcel tax that passes. You know, maybe some of that is getting really clear with our community on what a parcel tax would actually, what the promise of that is to our community, right? And so maybe that is, you know, a guaranteed AP or administrator ratio, a guaranteed counselor ratio, a class sizes, PE, music, right? What do we want to promise to our families so that they're not coming in and feeling like they've had the rug pulled out from underneath them? I think that's something that, you know, when we get there, we need to think really clearly about, like, what do we want to do, and then put a price tag to it rather than the other way around. I want to talk a little bit about ATB as well. So anyone who's watched any board meetings knows I care deeply about access to childcare because I have two medium small children. They're big but young, so they're very large. So ATB needs to be sustainable. So part of what is coming up is there was a post on Facebook earlier last week about ATB's getting canceled, you know, come and talk to the board. And I tried to diffuse that. At the same time, I then looked at what was communicated to ATB teachers, and I saw kind of how that message may have gotten across. And so we are not looking at closing ATB. If you go and you watch the meeting from April, it's a laugh riot, but that's not what we're looking at. If anything, we have been expanding other programs at schools, not in any way to diminish ATB, but to give our parents more options, because some people don't need before school care, but often, especially our teachers do, and our staff does, because they need to be at school at a particular time. And most importantly, at least in my mind, is that most of those programs don't accept TK and kinder students who are, their families already need to compensate for the fact that they have a shorter learning day, which makes that childcare situation pretty untenable. So all of that to say, at schools where we have sufficient enrollment in ATB, the program is much more sustainable. And that's one of the things that's coming out of this, is how do we shore up enrollment to make these classroom sizes and staffing levels make sense. So if you're at a school with a smaller ATB classroom, I think it was under 30 was what we said in the presentation, the best thing you can do is talk to other families about how much you love the program and get them to sign up. Because at schools where ATB is doing really well and where families want to be in and where we can actually fill classrooms, we're not worried about it there. And like, I love how much the public comment that we've heard tonight, how many of them were about recognizing the amazingness of our staff members, right? Talking about ATB teachers, talking about our facilities staff and our senior staff and our assistant principals and our counselors. We have a lot of truly amazing individuals that are working with us. And the best thing that we can do is show up for them in a way that helps all of our programs and schools be sustainable. The last thing that I want to say is there was one piece of what our friend who spoke against the resolution said. And I think he actually may have used the same speech last year, because I fairly remember being like, I agreed with you on something. And I think I wrote down the same quote, which was that people are loved the way they are. And I don't know if he recognizes the irony there. But that is all we're trying to do here, is show our students and our staff and our families that they're loved for exactly who they are. That's what Pride Month is also about. It's about acceptance and it's about support. So I look forward to voting on that resolution later. I get to sign it this year because I'm clerk. So hooray for almost Pride Month.
Dr. Agakanian.
Thank you. First of all, let me start by thanking Coach Nichols. Thank you for our son is fit now. He's running all the time. So thank you, Coach Nichols. So I think the conversations we've been having tonight about what we do and all the budgetary issues, I do agree with my colleague, Ms. Tabbitt. I'm going to age myself. So I used to work for Majority Leader Dario Fromer, and he's a dear friend of mine, yes. Dear friend of mine, and he told me, he said, if you're ever going to run for office and you consider school board, remember, it is one of, if not the most difficult, because at the end of the day, you're going to have budgetary issues because the way the state funds our education program. Ultimately, everyone is going to come at you. But if you believe in the power of education and what education can do and how it can change the world, then you should do it. And I believe that all of us here do believe in the power of education. And I think the 3 examples we just had tonight, if that is not a testament of how wonderful our education system in Burbank is, I don't know what else we can talk about. But the reality of the matter is, it is the way the state is funding us. And I'm not going to even talk about the legislation that some of these electeds have put forward that is going to cost us dearly soon. Legislation that was brought up a couple of years ago that will affect us, and that's coming. And I think that's a serious conversation for some of us who did work on the state budget for many years, to understand that the formula is broken, it's not working, we're going to have the same conversation. But more than ever, we have to look at what's happening right now. I mean, you saw the May revise and what's coming our way. It's not going to get pretty. And I think either we're going to have and I sound like a broken record, but it's the same conversation over and over again. Communities like Burbank, we don't get our fair share. We don't get our fair share, just based on our enrollment, demographics, but also level of income. So either we're going to have a serious conversation with our electeds about not just putting a little Band-Aid here and there, about the power of education and what it's doing and what's out there now in terms of competition, the global markets, what our students, these students are going to go out in the real world soon, and they're going to get a real taste about what's out there now. I think Thomas Friedman said it best. If you go in the world today, it's like entering the Olympics, but you have to compete in every profession, and you have to be good in every profession. And that's a challenge our students are facing now. So I think if we're talking about the value of education, how important it is, and how wonderful Burbank is, we also have to remember, it is very difficult. It is. We know what's coming, and we also understand why these cuts have to be done. But unless we start to have a serious conversation about how we change the system, we will be having more of these conversations. It's not getting better. Don't consider last year as a standard of having a surplus. That was just a one-time thing, post-pandemic. So I think once you're having these conversations, our only answer right now is the bond, and then looking at the parcel tax. But even that is difficult. I understand our concerns. I am a homeowner. I am a parent. I understand how difficult it is. But at the same time, how do you put a price on what you saw tonight? How do you put a price on these 3 students? Just a small example of how wonderful Burbank is. So instead of talking about, how wonderful our schools are and how wonderful the city is, let us get together and have conversations about how we can fix this problem once and for all. Or else we'll be having this conversation long past me and my colleagues being on this board. This is nothing new. It's been happening since Prop 13 passed. So it's just getting worse and worse every year. So I think maybe some of you can, as wonderful recommendations that Mr. Samarja, did I say it right? Made? And yes, by the way, I do like red velvet cupcakes. Or Ms. Madslek, who comes and talks about some of these suggestions. But I think we have to look at the bigger picture. It's a system that's just not working anymore. And, you will have your electeds come in because of their terms and what next move, and they're going to pass a legislation that seemed very good. But then 3 years, I won't mention numbers of these legislations. One of them is coming back very, very aggressively, which will cost the district and us even more money. So we have to have a conversation about how to fix this issue once and for all. And I think going back to the, principal, assistant principals, it is a simple numbers game, and I do agree, and thank you, Dr. Perma, being honest. We've known about this. We were hoping the budget might be better, but it's not getting better, and the new numbers just came out. And it's not only in K-12, it's also in college now, and in higher education. So the question becomes, are we preparing our next generation of leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs? Because if once they graduate high school, they're going to go to a higher ed, and they're going to have the same problems now. The cuts are coming heavily also in college and UC systems. It's just happening over and over, and tuition is going up now. So I hope some of you came forward and talked about how we can fix this, or some of the suggestions. I think you should bring your voice forward and talk to your electeds, just like you are. We're the same position, council, right? Not necessarily the same, but we are electeds. You do have the right as a constituent to voice your concerns. You should start writing to your elected officials, especially in the Senate and Assembly, because they're the ones who oversee the budget. But again, I do want to thank all the recommendations, all the suggestions, and at the end, I believe that together we will prevail. But I think we can do better. I see some of the best students, because some of them end up in my class, either at Glendale or East LA or Marymount. These are some of the brightest minds, but it's difficult for them. It is challenging. Just facing what's out there right now, global, when I went to school, we didn't have competition. We didn't have global competition. It's very different. These students have to go out there now really, really work hard. So I do want to thank all my colleagues, all of our faculty and staff for making the district what it is. Everyone talks about Burbank, but we have some of the disadvantages that can be fixed if together we come forward and really talk about what Burbank is and how we keep it as one of the best schools and school districts. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try to go fast. So to Sarah and Mr. Vorotsky, who spoke about Around the Bell. Thank you to Ms. Ponser-Kamkar, who had highlighted was it Facebook? The Facebook chatter for us right when she saw it. It's really frustrating. There's so many things that are difficult. It gets twice as hard when then there's imagined difficult things that we also have to say, no. So that's this horrible stuff is true, but this horrible stuff, it's not true. So I'm glad we clarified that. And I do hope that people will take Ms. Ponser-Kamkar's suggestion and reach out to us rather than believing a Facebook comment. Was it Mag Park Moms? Burbank Mommies. I'm not on either of them because, as you heard, I don't have children. I have cats. Anyway, Mr. Nickel, thank you. I don't know if you saw the look of surprise on my face when someone said something positive. I was like, what? What happened? It is so fulfilling to be able to have done that. And I wrote down something you said about how it let them know that their voices mattered and action was being taken. And there's nothing more important than that. So I just could not be happier that we were able to do something and that they felt heard and that you felt heard. And, I said to Dennis Maxwell today in a text, I said, I don't know how we got so lucky to have you as part of our team. but I'm grateful every day. And similarly for Mr. Cantwell. I mean, they have really, in so many ways, along with Dr. Paramo, transformed our district. And I know that it's not perfect. We have a long way to go, but I do feel like by and large, people feel heard by them and seen by them, and that they're responsive. And so thank you for shouting them out. Deeply appreciative, and it was great to see games. It's tough because sometimes you guys play my school where I work. Yeah, and I'm always like, what do I do? Oh, I know. They told me all about it. I didn't go because I was like, I don't know what I'll do. But it's super fun to come to the games, and I'll be at more. To Ms. Winstein and all of the teachers at Miller, which I feel like I've spent more time at Miller than almost anywhere else this year, which is great because I love Miller. And to Mr. Samarj, I don't know if you know this about me, but I teach middle school. I teach 7th and 8th, which is why I sound like this. Today they decided they wanted to discover what was in the ceiling. So that happened. I was not in the room at the time. They were like, we just wanted to see what was up there. And I was like, I can't fault you for wanting to know what was up there. I say that not to make light of it, but to let you know that I work in a school, and I said this at Tuesday's meeting. One of the most difficult things about cuts is people feeling like they have to defend the work that they do, and how hard they work and the requirements. I said this was it our meeting on Tuesday? Time has no meaning. When Ms. Maslick was up here, that we know the unbelievable amount of work and effort that our APs invest and our counselors invest, and these cuts are not reflective of that, even though they inadvertently feel like that, right? It feels like we're making some sort of a statement about the utility or necessity of these positions. And I think Ms. Tabbitt said it, that we know how important they are. We wouldn't have put them in place if we didn't. And I do think that there's a certain level, I'll just speak personally, where it's like you cross your fingers. You have that MOU and it says 1 year, and you cross your fingers and you hope maybe something is going to change because we need these people. Maybe something is going to change. And then when it doesn't, you're faced with the reality that we find ourselves in. So, I mean, there's no good solution. There's nothing that I can say other than conversations are going to continue. So I don't want people to feel like, and this is for everybody who spoke tonight about AP, is that like, our mind is made up, it's done, don't come, we don't, like, it's just empty. We constantly are in conversation about this. I meet with Dr. Paramo weekly. I know that many of the board members do. It is a constant conversation. What can we lose? Where can we shift this? And we're all going to have a sort of different set of priorities, right? Like for some people it's APs, for other people it might be intervention specialists. Whatever ends up happening, people aren't going to be happy, and we certainly won't be either. But the loss of an AP is going to be felt deeply. There's no question. And we know what an asset Ms. Tobin has been at Luther. When I came to, I always call it back to school night, but it's not, open house. Like she was right there at the front. Like she's there like a sergeant, And it was great to see because she was everywhere all at once. And I say that with a heavy heart, right? I'm thankful she's still going to be in the district, but I know that it is perhaps in a different place than she would want to be. So I know this sounds ridiculous because I can't give you answers or I can't solve things, but I do hope you'll continue to be in conversation with us. And I really appreciate all 50 teachers who signed this. This is a crazy week, and even taking the time to write it and then just grabbing a signature, even having 30 seconds to do that, like somebody probably gave up their opportunity to run to the bathroom. Oh, I know. So even the signatures I don't take lightly. And I think it would be really helpful too if at some point, maybe during pre-service or whenever, so it's not an extra burden on your time, but it would be really great to just be able to sit down and talk with you about the things you need. Because I I know things generally, right? Like I've been a teacher for about 20 years, but I also know that every school has its own personality, its own needs, its own specifics. So I try to get to as many schools as I can, but it's always good to sit down and have another conversation and talk about what's needed and how we can maybe address that or reimagine that. Something that people were talking about, and this was brought up by our counselors too, is some of the behaviors that we're seeing that are just exacerbated. I mean, the amount of fights I've had to break up at my school is unmatched. I've never had a year like this, and I said that last year, and now I'm saying it again this year. But one of the things, and this sort of segues a little bit into FSA, that we have been talking about is in all of our sort of social emotional work, we have been really focused at the high school level and the middle school. And yes, we know that we need to be refocused at elementary for about 82 billion reasons. One, because if we start in elementary, it goes with them as they move up. And two, because the behaviors that we're seeing are different. We know the kids are different, right? And so one of our questions is in regards to, so we have a student mental health and wellness ad hoc committee that's starting up, is how do we effectively address these things? What do we need to be doing? I mean, Ms. Ponser-Kamkar has already brought forward talking about a no cell phone policy in elementary and middle. Is that realistic? How do we do that? Because we know a great deal of the sort of behaviors are coming from what they're watching and seeing on TikTok or YouTube or wherever they might be. So we need to be clear about what's needed and how we address that. And that's part of the reason why, and I know Dr. Promo, you said this, we've expanded the Hanover survey. Because look, I meet with our student mental health board every year. I talk with counselors. I talk with anybody who will listen. I know there are problems with the way that we are serving our students' mental health needs. I mean, I know. Asking for updated and consistent data. I'm in year 4 and I still don't have it. I've been asking for creation of an app so students can schedule appointments with FSA, so we can cut into students using it as a way to sort of piece out and hide, and also allows us to track if a student's going to FSA more than once a week or twice a week, we need to ask ourselves what's going on. Does that student need to be referred out? Why are they going there? It's not about violating confidentiality. I don't need to know the specifics, but that's also something I've been asking for now going on 3 years. So I'm frustrated too. But I also know that what I'm hearing from people, while I believe it, I don't think anyone's making anything up, is anecdotal. And we need to be able to do the work with Hanover to really get those specifics so that when we make a decision, and this is to Mr. Ferguson's point as well, that we're making it from a place of having that data. I'm really glad you guys did that survey. That sounds awesome. I have to talk you into doing the same thing when we send out a survey so we can get like the same number of responses. But I think that we are recognizing that there are flaws, there are huge gaps, and there are issues in just about every level. So I don't want you to think that funding them is sort of a tacit endorsement. We are aware, and I know that Dr. Paramo has had really difficult, continuous conversations with Lori Blake, who is in charge of FSA multiple times this year, which is great, right? We need to be having these conversations. So we can't leave our students without supports next year. We can't. It's not safe for them, and it's not fair. And there's no way that our counselors who are there can handle everything that is needed on any one of our levels. So what I want you to hear in this is that I know, I see it, and I hear you, and I believe you, and you are not the first or the fifth or the 10th or the 20th person to say to me, I am struggling with the services FSA is providing. And it is a humongous priority for me. So I don't feel like we can leave our kiddos without a safety net, but I am 100% committed to figuring out how to do a better job of this without question. So I say that when we're talking about behavioral issues with APs, I say that when you're bringing up the huge amount of money, because it is, that we have invested in FSA. I think that another thing that another thing that we've worked on is the creation of these 2 new positions that are really meant to provide expertise and care in a way that it hasn't been in regards to mental health and things like attendance, which we know we need. So we're trying to meet the needs with real answers. And we will continue to do so. Mr. Becky, thank you, as always. I appreciate your consistent communication and your partnership. I mean, like, it just sucks. But I've said this before, and I will say it again to the cows come home. I am committed to a bond, and I am 100% committed to a parcel tax. 100%. I think doing it the way we're doing it is going to get us there, but a lot of you said it tonight. Our community needs to get there with us. I can want a parcel tax for the rest of my life, but if the community doesn't stand up and stand with us, then they're going to continue to see schools that don't look the way they want them to look as far as staffing, right? So, you know, despite being a renter, my rent does go up, and I am happy to pay whatever the increase is, as are most of the people, because I think Burbank is 70% renters. It's something really, really big like that. So it's gonna be time to call in our community to help us solve these problems. Which is tough to do, right? Especially our teachers and our classified staff, who are the ones who are feeling the brunt of it. And we're saying to them, we also need you to show up and help get this passed. So it's an extra burden, and we know that. What's his face? He comes here every month or every year. He spews his hate. He said two things. So Ms. Ponser-Kamkar, you picked up on the people are loved the way they are. And he also kept saying God doesn't make mistakes, which I think is unbelievably ironic. So, okay, I agree. If God doesn't make mistakes, cool, agreed, sir. We had a bunch of parents come to our last board meeting and complain about our Rainbow Club at Miller, which is just the best. Don't mean to brag, but I got a bracelet when I went. No big deal, no big deal. But sitting with them, and there were about 15 kids at this meeting, was one of the highlights of my time on the school board. They felt so much joy and relief because they were in a space where they knew they could be themselves. Even if it was for 25, 30 minutes, right? Where they could just be themselves and relax about it and have fun and make bracelets and tell silly jokes. And that's what this man is afraid of. I say it to him every year. The only person who is sexualizing this is him. Nobody else is. Certainly not our teachers, certainly not our students. This is about a celebration of who you are. However you were born, however you choose to be. It has nothing to do with some sort of sick, obsessive interest in the sexuality of young children. So we said it as a board before, we'll continue to say it. Our support is unwavering, full stop. Our district staff, our support is unwavering, full stop. For our teachers, for our families, full stop. We can have a small group of angry, hateful people come here, but I know that the larger Burbank community doesn't look or sound like that. And I'm fine to let them have their 5 minutes if that's what needs to happen. It does not change one iota of what we believe and what we will continue to do for our students. So happy Pride Month to him, and I look forward to seeing him next year in June. The last thing I'll quickly say is just an explanation for anyone interested. When we shifted public comment because people were waiting 4 hours to get a chance to speak on an item that wasn't on the agenda. That did not feel fair to any of us. So you could come and speak in the first public comment period about something agenda specific, but if you wanted to just share something about that you felt was important to the school board, you were sitting there for 3-4 hours. That is not an appropriate way to build community trust and to ask people to come and share their concerns. So we changed it in order to make public comment more accessible, not less accessible. Now, there are people who are sad that they lost their 3 minutes of yell time. I get it. But I have been really happy to see that we've had more people come, we've had more students and teachers come, and that is exactly what we hoped would happen. Is that by changing it and making it more accessible to people, they could come and talk, and then they could go home and have dinner with their kids or take a nap or do their homework. And I think that we've achieved that. Or sleep. I hear sleep is nice. So just to let the public know that this was actually a move made by the board to increase community engagement, not to shut community engagement out. And we're always willing to reevaluate if our community asks us to do so. Dr. Agakanian wants everyone to know he was going to say that, but I said it. Thank you. So again, thank you to everybody who came down. I hope you will continue to. And also, please, I say this every board meeting, but I mean it. Don't wait till a board meeting. Reach out, email, meet, whatever is most comfortable for you. I think most of us will do that with some possible exclusions. But in general, don't wait. Reach out. We are going to move on now to new and or unfinished business. The first is 11A, adoption of Resolution 37, ordering a governing board member election. May I have a motion and a second? Moved by Dr. Agakanian, seconded by Ms. Ponser-Kamkar. I'm sorry, Ms. Tabbitt.
It's okay. I just gotta be faster.
Any conversation? To explain very quickly to the community what this is that whenever there is an election, we have to, as a board, pass a resolution that just says, hey, we're having an election. Sweet. All board members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Seeing no opposition, motion carries 5-0. Yay. 11B, adoption of Resolution 38 in support of Pride Month, June 2024. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ferguson, seconded by Ms. Ponser-Kamkar. Any conversation?
Yeah, can I go? Sorry,
Yeah.
it's just like
No, of course. I
okay,
just
sorry.
didn't.
Yeah, you looked. No, I was like, oh wait, but I bobbed when. Hey, I bobbed when you waved. It's all. Anyway, I do want to thank the board for considering this again and every year. And every year it's been pretty much unanimous, and that's a lovely thing. Obviously, we want to see that again. But this comes also on the heels of a city and a district joint resolution as well. And I just want to point that out again. First resolution of that kind, this community is solidly behind the LGBT community, no doubt. And the elected leaders up here and the district leaders up here, I have seen really struggle to keep young people safe, to keep young people in places where they can feel like they are, feel like they belong. But I want to be clear that this fight is not over, right? We see the manifestation of it in those two, but we also see manifestation of it when we resist putting a resolution on an agenda to begin with. It comes in a lot of different shades, and we've got to really get to the source of it. When we don't know why we fly pride flags, we got to know the reason why, because it's a symbol of a movement. We can work with everybody to increase understanding. And I think that that's where the work continues to be. So I really want to thank everybody for your support of this, just as a gay person. I don't represent the full spectrum of the community, Lord knows. But it is a critical time to be an ally. It's a critical time to be a friend. So thank you.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. All board members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries with a resounding 5-0. Mr. Ferguson, would you do us the honor of reading the resolution? We have it, paper one, if you
Yeah,
want it.
that'd be great. Thank you. And you get to sign it. Yeah. So, Resolution 38, proclaiming June 2024 as Burbank Unified School District's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual LGBTQIA+ Pride Month. Whereas the Burbank Unified School District models, advocates, and actively supports and promotes the inclusive and respectful treatment respectful treatment of all students, staff, family members, and community members. And whereas the district believes that all students should be able to attend school in a safe and inclusive environment free from discrimination. And where the district is firmly committed to providing a safe, nurturing, and tolerant environment in our schools. And whereas the district is firmly committed to school safety for all students and staff and family members, including the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual plus community, or those who may be perceived as such. Whereas the district believes that sexual orientation and gender expression bias, bullying, are amongst the most common forms of harassment in schools. And the lack of awareness and understanding of these issues have contributed to a higher rate of isolation, depression, and suicidal ideations or attempts. And whereas the significantly higher rates of school dropout, academic failure, and school disengagement among LGBTQIA plus youth across the country are attributed to peer harassment and bullying, and whereas children who do not conform to gender stereotypes are more likely to be targets of harassment and bullying. And whereas all district schools must strive to ensure that Burbank schools are consistently safe and affirming spaces for all students and staff and their families, and whereas pursuant to Education Code Section 200, it is the policy of California to afford all persons in public schools, regardless of their disability, gender, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race, or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or any other protected characteristic, equal rights and opportunities in the educational institutions of California. Paperclip. And whereas pursuant to Education Code 201, all California public schools have an affirmative obligation to combat racism, sexism, and other forms of bias and a responsibility to provide equal educational opportunity. And whereas pursuant to Education Code Section 51933, the California Healthy Youth Act, which our lovely PTA Council had a large part in advocating for, portions of its components, and the Board Policy 6142.1, all California's public schools must provide comprehensive sexual health education to encourage the development of healthy attitudes of adolescent growth and the development of body image, gender, sexual orientation, and relationships, and ensure that sexual health education does not promote outdated gender norms. Whereas the Student Success and Opportunity Act of 2013 strengthened protections for transgender students and affirmed that all students should be recognized and participate in activities by their gender identity. And whereas the district endorses training for educators and other school-related professionals to support all students dealing with issues of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. And whereas the district recognizes LGBTQIA+ as a protected group and addresses discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. And whereas the district recognizes that education regarding LGBTQIA+ issues increases the understanding and cultivates the acceptance respect for the LGBTQIA+ students. And whereas the month of June provides the opportunity to celebrate and value the identities and contributions of the LGBTQIA+ community, and whereas a knowledge of LGBTQIA history for all students enables LGBTQIA+ students, families, and educators to be supported by the district community to uphold affirmative lives with dignity and respect. And whereas by recognizing Pride Month, the district demonstrates supports of policies and practices and curriculum that honor and respect the LGBTQIA students, staff, and their families. One more plus at that bottom one. Now therefore be it resolved that the Burbank Unified School District Board of Education hereby designates June 2024 as Pride Month and directs the superintendent and all district staff to support policies, practices, and curricula that respect LGBTQIA+ students and their families throughout the school year. The district will also fly pride flags, progress pride flags, at each site for the month of June. Pass 5. Thank you. It was a lot of letters, but a lot of love for all of them.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for reading that. Yar. We are going to move on to 11C, approval of Resolution 39 declaring salaries indefinite and to authorize regular and retroactive pay changes for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Agkanian, seconded by Mr. Ferguson. Discussion. I had a quick,
I was just going to ask for staff to explain.
that's what I was
this
going to
is.
say.
Yes.
Dr. Rodchenko is not able to attend tonight, so I'll be answering on her behalf. This is a procedural step that opens the ability for us to have negotiations next year that could involve retroactive salary enhancements. So again, this is not a commitment to such, but rather just as a procedural step that allows that to be part of the negotiations with our bargaining units for next year.
Thank you. I think we're probably going to call on you quite a bit to just sort of explain to our community because there's a lot of confusing language. Okay, with that, any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, motion carries 5-0. 11D, approval of agreement for professional services. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Agakanian, seconded by Mr. Ferguson. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We've removed 11E from the agenda. 11F, I'm very excited about this one. Approval of job description for wellness and behavior specialist position. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ferguson, seconded by Clerk Ponser Kamkar. Discussion. Hello? Who knows? I mean, I think it would be helpful, Dr. Promo, if you would give just like a really brief description of what these positions are, why they're there, and why we're excited about them.
Sure. Part of the student body that we serviced at Community Day School are students who were chronically absent. And with CDS no longer a school, but rather a SOAR program, we have to identify the needs of our students who are missing chronically and establish appropriate services for them. So these are two positions that will work closely with those children to figure out what it is that is preventing them from coming to school. So whether those are mental health issues, whether those are potential learning disabilities, whether there is potential things going on at home, we are going to provide the services and help them so that they are attending school regularly. You all know this, but for the sake of the public, oftentimes our kids who are chronically absent are also kids who are experiencing a lot of discipline issues. So we have two positions, one that will be focused with high school students and one that will be focused with our middle school students. We want to develop that. We want to try that out. We want to perfect that position and then eventually come back and see whether or not we might be able to provide a similar position for elementary.
So I think it's a really exciting addition to providing stronger attendance and mental health services for our students in our schools. Any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Ferguson.
Just to follow up on this, we're clearly getting into this realm, which I think is an important one. It's a good refresh. It would be great if we had a presentation that talked about what is the role of a PsyD, what is the role of a counselor, what does each credential allow the work to look like with each student. So that way we know what the limits are of each license.
Sure.
Okay.
We can do that.
And we can educate the public as well, because that I think is
absolutely
that's happening. And like an intervention specialist.
Might we call that an agenda item request, Mr. Ferguson?
Yes, that would be.
Oh, I will put it in my form. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, the form. But I think when you read through the job description, I think one of the things that you'll notice is how precise it is. And that's not me, like for the community. The requirements so the creation of this job, I think, took into account the sort of lack of clarity with some of the other positions. And so I think this is a great step in the right direction. It was also something that FCMAT came back and talked to us about, making sure that we had some more clarity in our job descriptions. So it's nice to see that the recommendations from FCMAT coming into play in lots of different places. Any other conversation? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Seeing no opposition, motion carries 5-0. Moving to 11G, approval of amended fiscal stabilization plan required by LA County Office of Education, LACO, based on the adopted budget.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Agakanian, seconded by Ms. Tabbitt. The way I would like, if it's okay, to begin the conversation, something that you did on Tuesday, which was really helpful, is you gave a quick sort of like timeline of the sort of fiscal stabilization, all of that. And I think it'd be helpful for the community to sort of hear and understand what we're actually taking action on and what we're just discussing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you would like to do.
I will stay here if that is okay then. President Weisberg and board members, so thank you, Dr. Weisberg, for that question. I would like to give a brief preface of saying one of the great joys I have in working for Superintendent Dr. Paramo. When he first stepped into this role, we had a meeting and he discussed that his priority was to make sure that we're leading with integrity and transparency. And so I want to just be very clear that this actually is not an item that needs to be before you tonight. Legally, we would be updating this at the same time that we update our budget, which is going to be on June 20th. However, June 20th, we know that most people have already left for summer, and we did not want to make it look like these were being done in the guise of darkness or when people were not present. We wanted to be very upfront about this, and that's why the past few weeks have been so challenging for so many of us who have been meeting with the individuals affected by this to make sure that, again, that individuals knew well in advance. So legally,